All right. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to July.
Weird. It's not right. It should not be July already.
Not only July, but the 4th of July. The one day a year that Americans flip the way we say our dates.
I know.
We say it like Brits or like the rest of the world.
The rest
really.
of the world.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not the rest, but the majority of the world. That's how we should put it.
Yeah, it is definitely a majority. Not nearly as much of a majority as the metric system, but it's a majority.
Yep. I'll never give up my Fahrenheit, though.
No, it is way more realistic for humans.
Yes.
You know, now if we're talking about water and stuff, yeah.
Fantastic.
I'll grant
Science is great for Celsius is great for science.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit's great for telling me how hot it is for me.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we're here for roundtable number 177. So let's go ahead and hit the intro, and we can get started on that.
The Dark Tower by Stephen King. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Go then. There are other worlds than these. Death, but not for you, gunslinger. It's time we had our own Palaver, I think, and it's going to take a while.
And yet, dauntless, the slug horn to my lips I set, and blew. Child Roland to the Dark Tower came.
We are content, one from many. Let the Palaver begin.
Hello and welcome to Dark Tower Palaver. This is our podcast covering Stephen King's magnum opus, the Dark Tower series, and of course the extended Stephen King universe, because all things serve the tower. My name is Tad.
And I'm Peter.
And yeah, we're here for roundtable number 177. We are now into July, which is definitely very, very odd seeming. But yes, here we are in July. It's actually, as a matter of fact, July 4th. For all the American listeners, it's obviously a notable day.
Yeah, for all Americans out there, happy 4th of July. To the Brits, sorry, not sorry.
And then everyone, make sure you have all 10 digits before and after this holiday.
Yes.
You know, no danger here in Utah. We have been shut down thoroughly on fireworks. So.
Well, when half the state burns down before the 4th of July, you kind of take precautions.
Yeah, indeed. Let's go ahead and dive on into the introduction. First of all, spoiler warning, this is a roundtable, so if you haven't finished the 7 primary books of the Dark Tower series, you may want to cry off this episode and stick with our book club episodes. Over there, we stay where we're at or before, we don't jump ahead. Now, the question becomes, when it comes to that part of the spoiler alert, is, come October, when this other book comes out, does the 7 primary books still part of what we discuss, or do we start talking about the 9 books? I mean, because we do leave off Went Through the Keyhole, which I think is somewhat unfair, because there's times we've spoiled that as well.
I mean, it's 7 primary books, is what you say, primary. Not saying it's the only books. I mean, we're also leaving off Little Sisters of Illyria and a couple other things. So but
who's to say that when Other Worlds Than These is not primary? That's the question.
I mean, it just depends on what's in it. We got to read it first before we make a determination of whether or not it fits in the primary, secondary, or tertiary category.
It's definitely an interesting thought of how that might change things, though. Then if you want to find us, you can find us on Apple Podcasting. You can stream us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, or any podcasting service of your choice. If you want traditional podcasts, they're definitely out there still. If you want to subscribe, rate, and review us on any of those, we'd appreciate that. If you want to join us live here for our live streams, we do these every other week on YouTube at youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. You can find live streams dating back years now, so you can go back and watch old episodes. Of course, like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications if you're with us here live. If you're looking off in the future watching old episodes, you can definitely still like and subscribe, and then of course you can of course comment as well. If the people here in the live chat can chat along live, but if you want to leave comments on previous videos, certainly feel free to do that. Find the show notes over at darktowerpalaver.com. That is the hub for all things Dark Tower Palaver. You'll find links for everything Dark Tower Palaver over there. Then if you want to support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. At any level of support, you get access to our Discord server, so you can chat with us all the time. You get access to our monthly hangouts, which we just did one yesterday, where we wrapped up our It reread for the Patreon. We did a 2-parter last year for The Stand, 2-parter this year for It, and next year we're doing some 11/22/63. Although, did we talk about doing that for a 2-parter being the book, or just a 2-parter being the book and then the series?
Both.
So is it a 3-parter?
I think it's going to be a 2-parter where it's going to be, I think we'll do like 2/3 of the book, and then 1/3 of the book and the miniseries.
That's a weird way to break it up, though.
I think it'd be good.
But either way, yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll figure it out.
So we're just going through the epics, it seems like. So, and then at the highest level of support for Patreon, you get to co-host an episode with us. So check that out. And then if you want to reach out to the show, Peter can let you know the ways to do that.
I mean, the best way to reach us, as always, is through email. It's show@darktowerpalaver.com. And then find our social medias. We got Threads and Instagram. It's Dark Tower Palaver, all one word, no spaces. And then on Blue Sky, it's @darktowerpalaver.bsky.social. And then our Twitter is @darktowerpod. That's @darktowerpod. And then we have facebook.com/darktowerpalaver. And then check out our merchandise. It's tpublic.com/user/darktowerpalaver. Get yourself a #TadIsTerrible sticker, t-shirt, basketball shorts, fanny pack.
You can get real logo too if you want. Actually, I think there's a sale right now too. So maybe I'll get me a new shirt, because my mine have not survived here. The one I've got now is quite getting quite tattered. It's getting some holes in it and that kind of stuff. You know, once you wash a shirt too many times,
it just
discolorations, all that kind of stuff. So maybe it's a good time to go and check out. You know, maybe I can get
a sale right now for the next 10 hours.
Is that it? I thought we went through the whole weekend.
It's got a countdown on it, but, you know, who knows? Maybe that's just to get me to buy something.
Maybe I'll go see if there's a Chuck was right shirt.
Gross.
That's for the other show, but yes, for anyone that's a fan, Better Call Saul. And then that's the intro stuff. I'm going to try this little button here that maybe tells me the timestamps, because I don't know. We'll see. I never noticed that button until very recently. So as we're moving over here, we're actually going over to
emails. Hey. It's the emails. Tad's going to read us what people wrote to us.
You know that's not getting deleted, right?
God damn it.
So yeah, we got another update from James. So for one, he finally caught up to the point we changed emails. So he sent his previous emails. But when you get here eventually, James, you'll obviously realize that we already read your emails, because I do still have the old one, and I do still keep an eye on it, you know, because ultimately if somebody jumped into the show for the first time and they watched, they would watch, I don't know, 5 or 6 years or some longer than that even, I think. It was probably 8 or so years worth of shows on the old email. So I'm not just going to leave that one completely high and dry. But the new email is the better way to get a hold of us. There's a lot less nonsense coming through that email than there is with the other one, because I have all the social media and everything else set up on that one. So, but yeah, James emailed again. Says, hello, Tad and Peter.
Hi.
He says, hope you're doing well. I'm currently on the March 19th, 2023 podcast.
3 years behind.
So he's chugging along, though. And it is a lot faster to listen to shows than it is to make them. I know from experience of times I've jumped into shows that, I've been vastly behind on, and it's really nice because you could just binge them through. But then once you catch up, it's like, God damn it, that's just not fun anymore to a certain extent. Because I love binging, because then you always know you have something to listen to. But if you're like in a podcast mood and you're going through listening to podcasts, you listen to maybe you have ones that come out every week or whatever like that. But once you get through those, if you're not in the middle of a book or anything, you're kind of nothing to do.
Yeah.
So, whereas if you're binging, it's you just know, I've got.
I got this episode, and then when that's done, I got another episode, and on and on.
He says, so which means I finally got the new email you guys have been using now for 2 or 3 years. So 2 emails I forwarded the new email address because I'm using because I use the old email address. But again, we got to those. A lot of great podcasts have come out since I sent my emails to you. Caught up on the Bill Hodges trilogy and have yet to read Holly. That's a good read. I love the.
You got to read The Outsider first. Don't jump straight to Holly.
I guess that's
going to ruin things. You got to do Outsider first.
Yeah, it's true. And If It Bleeds.
Oh, you got to respond to him.
That's. I mean, hope he's keeping track of the actual.
I mean, if he's not, but if it doesn't say it in the synopsis or anything like that, so maybe not.
Yeah.
You know.
Hopefully, I remember after the episode here to email back to him.
Oh gosh,
Uh,
that's a hard thing to ask. Is Tad to remember something?
This is I'm looking forward to reading Fairy Tale and 11/22/63. Oof, that's a big one there. To read, and a great one, man. Top 5 for both of us if I remember our lists right.
11/22/63 for sure.
Yeah. So I think that was in both of our top 5, which I can't believe I haven't read yet. It's just in time for another Dark Tower read though, or read through. Also, I'm looking forward to diving more into Joe Hill's books and seeing the cross references to his father's work. And yes, I too would love to see him pick up more Dark Tower books and carry the legacy forward. That would be amazing. Can never get too much of a good thing, which means can't get enough Dark Tower. Indeed.
That's right.
That's it for now, though. Long days and pleasant nights to both of you, and hopefully I will be caught up by the next time I send an email. Then he does send some emojis, which I do appreciate still. Laughing emoji, a monkey covering its face emoji, which I always love monkey emojis too, because we got good old monkey up there. So, and then a face palm, I think. I'm getting a little old here. Some of these people emojis are so goddamn small. And then keep up the great work. Signed, James. And he says, P.S. You guys crack me up, and you should see the looks I get when I'm wearing AirPods and just laugh seemingly at nothing. To be who realize I'm not listening to a podcast till I tell them. So yeah, that's. I mean, I usually wear bigger headphones. Pods just have. I've hated them since the very beginning of like headphones, like back in like the early 2000s when like earbuds. My ears, I just can't. They hurt my ears. I don't feel like
ears are the wrong shape. Is what I've always figured out is that because I even suggested a pair back in the day that came with like different sized. Pads on them, and you're like, none of them are right.
No, they just hurt. And like a lot of times, like especially, I mean, maybe less so nowadays, but in the old days, there's been times I'll have headphones on for hours and hours at a time. I'm listening, and it's like, because even if they don't feel terrible right away, they will start hurting over time, and like that's just So earpods are definitely not for me. So I don't really go incognito. Then he also responded to, I also forgot to mention I had a chance to watch Castle Rock, which is definitely a good show. A lot of great King references, and the girl who played Kathy Bates' Annie Wilkes did an amazing job, and what he's talking about there is the second season.
I still haven't watched the second season.
Yeah, you should get on that.
I still need to.
It's good stuff. And he says the earlier version of Kathy Bates' character. So indeed. So yeah, that's thank you, James, for the email there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Roland from Gilead said, I'm so glad you guys are still around. I love your conversations and personalities. Thank you so much. And then Baraki says, Heil Gunslingers.
Yeah, Heil, and thank you, Roland. And thank you, Baraki. Yeah, welcome. And yeah, thanks. Of course, we've been, as we've said before, we've probably been podcasting for 25 years. We just finally turned on mics about, what is it, 10 years, something years ago now? 11, going on 11 years
Going on 11 years this year.
So, indeed.
Only a couple months until 11 years, actually. October.
Yeah.
We're closer to that than we are the start of the year.
It'll be here before you know it.
Yeah.
October. So, but now let's jump on over to the Palaver section.
Okay.
Because book 4 is wrapped now.
Yes.
And we have teased that we're not going to relitigate the poll because the poll for most hated Dark Tower character is sealed, and Rhea won that.
Rhea did.
But here's I just said after we got through the book club, like I do think we should revisit at least a conversation.
Yeah.
And I think I think I mentioned it on a previous episode, but for one, we ran out of time, and for two, you also objected that it wasn't soon enough yet because we hadn't got through everything. So.
Right.
But I think there's a larger conversation to be had though, because honestly, going through the book clubs, I think there's a lot we've maybe laid on Rhea over the years that she really doesn't deserve. Because I think the Ball is way more responsible for a lot of this stuff, and I'm not sure that Rhea has any power over what we just covered in the last episode.
The last episode really was kind of eye-opening because there was serious questions raised during the episode, during the prep and everything like that. Even myself started questioning, is this actually Rhea? Is this actually her?
Is she projecting through the Ball in some way? Is this her doing?
How would she do that?
Or
that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So, the thing, I went away from last episode thinking that, but I did come up with one or two counter arguments to that.
Okay.
One, we did talk about how
I had some other thoughts too that came up since then, so I'll have some to throw at you as well. Okay. At least one.
One that I did come up with, and I think we did mention this on the episode, and it's just kind of the more I've thought about it, the more it just doesn't add up that it's just the Ball. I don't think that it is just the Ball showing the gunslingers, the quartet, what happened to Roland's mother. There's too many things, too many factors there that show differences between when Roland went into it and when Rhea was using it and its powers. I think it's different because, one, they were there. Two, Roland became himself again. That's shown by the boots that he's wearing, the red boots. He's his young self, and he had to go through it again with that.
It is to the New Yorkers, but not to him though. Mm-hmm. He's not wearing red boots, like really.
No.
It's like the through the eye of the beholder,
right.
Like they see it on him,
right?
And like so it's kind of a weird crossover thing there, but yeah.
But that's what I'm saying though, is that did Roland just sit out there outside of them? No, it talks about it when we covered it in the book club. We later got to it in a later section that he's like, yeah, I was there. I did it again. So it's like that.
I don't know. I think the way the wording was is I was there, and like I think there was in my mind it wasn't clear that he was saying that I was there again, but he's where
the boots are the telling factor for me. Is that if he's wearing the boots and that they see the boots, that's telling you that that's Roland again. Why else would the red boots be there?
I mean, it could be an indicator to the New Yorkers that would have never seen Roland. Like, if you're going from like a storytelling perspective, mm-hmm. like, let's imagine if you're Eddie or whatever, it's like you wouldn't have watched the entire season 4 or whatever season it might end up being. But right. you will not have watched that, so it's like maybe that's the indicator that the ball is showing. Like that's Roland, just so y'all know, because like they wouldn't. I mean, they could maybe deduce that it's Roland, but they're not going to overtly know that it's not Cuthbert. Right, like they
wouldn't know. It's Roland. Like it's not going to be like convoluted and everything like that. He's going to his mother and everything like that. There's the ball. There's his mom. They knew what was going on. It's not like they're just like dropped into some random world and this is some random guy and stuff like that. No, they know what's going on. They know what they're going to see. They know who they're going to see. Roland says it. It's his secret. It's his darkest secret. They're not going to drop in and be dropped into Cuthbert's room following Cuthbert around. It's not like that.
I mean, you never know. The ball is deceptive.
But I just to me personally, I just feel like there's something more here than just the ball. And I think that what it comes down to is that there's that line where it says Rhea can make friends. Rhea has powerful friends, or whatever that line was.
Yeah, about did she take the ball? Or
right.
did she like
that also I think can lead a little bit into how this all came about. But I think that Rhea played a part in the New Yorkers being able to see it, and because of that, I think that she had some control over not necessarily the ball, but with the ball, I think that she made this happen, which is why she's there and able to communicate with Roland and be like, "Hey, that's for Ermont." Because otherwise, why is that there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because at
a false face for a ball that's just going to disappear and never reappear in the story anyway. No, it's for Rhea. It's to up the ante. It's to show that Rhea is still a piece of shit and still fucking with Roland.
Because I think the other part of it too is like I don't necessarily count Rhea that powerful. Like I think the ball is like I projected almost like the rings in Lord of the Rings. Like it's a power beyond most. Like and I just don't think she rates enough to have like power through it in that sense. Like again, now is it taking like using her face and knowing the story, because like the ball would have been there to see Ermont killed and stuff, so it's like it can totally use that to hurt Roland even, you know what I mean? Like, because wouldn't that be like, even from the ball's perspective, which we obviously have seen like wants to hurt people and it wants like it like feeds on like pain and misery. Like, wouldn't it be something then to like throw Ermont back at him and just be like, hey, yeah, I just had you do this because like I want shit, but I'm also gonna make you feel as bad about it as I possibly can. Like,
why would the ball hide? Why would the ball hide behind Rhea though?
No, it's another manipulation. It's a sense of like, it's one thing to just be like, yeah, I'm a ball, I wanted you to kill your fucking mom and I just did, so fuck off. But rather than that, like turn it back to being something so like trivial. It's like something like where like you know like your whole family gets murdered and it turns out it's because you cut somebody off. It's like you find that out, like how much worse is that than just like someone who you wiped out their family, you know what I mean? Like maybe the ball sees that from the perspective like how much more salt in the wound is that now Roland is going to believe that has to do with this fucking snake, when like it really was like the ball being the ball. Here's the thing I thought of from the perspective of it being more the ball than Rhea, that I thought about, a week later or whatever, was like the fact that Rhea, when she turns to the New York quartet and tells them to cry off, why the fuck would Rhea even know about the tower, know about the journey, and care about it? Whereas the ball, like, if it's serving some larger evil, like, as you would say Flag might be, but evil is the wrong term.
He serves the Crimson King. That's evil.
I mean,
he's the Crimson King's little bitch boy.
Go
do my bidding.
We've debated that.
He is.
No, we've debated if he's doing his own thing.
We know he's doing his own thing. He says that in book 7.
Yeah.
So we know that we know that he's going to double cross the Crimson King, but at the same time, it's the same thing as like Germany and Russia. Yeah, they had a mutual agreement and destroyed Poland together. But that Germany's going to cross Russia or Russia's going to cross Germany. That's how it goes. That's what evil people do.
Yeah,
they double cross people.
I don't know. But that's the thing is, like, to me, like the fact that it's basically trying to get the quartet off the journey and to abandon Roland, that seems way beyond Rhea. And that just seems something more like the ball or whatever larger thing that the ball, like whatever malicious element. Because, like, to me, like, that's where, like, to me, it almost feels out of context. Like Rhea, Tower, like that, and like the quartet and following him, like that feels way outside and well beyond Rhea to me. So like that struck me. It was like I was laying in bed one night. It was like probably like nearly a week later, and I was just, or not a week, because it's actually only been a week since our last episode.
Yeah,
but
a few days later.
Sometime over the course of the last week where it just hit me. I'm like, wait a minute, why would Rhea give a fuck about like the quartet following Roland on this journey? Like, whereas like whatever larger purpose, like whether it even be, maybe it's even Flag. I mean, who knows? But it's like, because Flag has now had a repeated thing of trying to get Roland to get off the journey, right? And like,
well, that's what I was hinting at before. Is that's where I was going to go with my other point. Is that I don't believe that it's just Rhea fucking with Roland here. I believe that it's Flag as well.
Now, and that's where I'm like,
and I think that if Flag and Rhea got together,
and that's where
if they pooled their power and stuff like that, they could pull this off.
And Flag's the one that gets the ball, right?
And
like,
he has the ball here. He has the ball,
it, so it's like,
and he just conveniently drops it, and oops, there he left a honeypot. He left a trap for them.
But that's where I would like where I said earlier, I don't know if Rhea rates high enough to like have any kind of influence on the ball, but Flag I think is different. I think he does. I think Foley, I don't know. And like, it maybe even makes me wonder, like, does Flag, get the ball after Gabrielle gets it back, sees enough of the story, and or who knows how much of it he saw on his own anyway. Mm-hmm. So maybe he already knows about Ermont and stuff. And so maybe he just uses, again, because
he knows shit that's going on without being there.
Yeah, 100%.
All the time.
Yeah, no, 100%. So I don't know. I feel like Flag is like high enough, like I'm almost thinking like a D&D game, even though I've never played the damn game, but it's like there's like levels, right? And it's like, I think Flag rates high enough to potentially be able to use the ball to manipulate things. Rhea, I think she's like a useful tool. Like, yes, it was able to use some like magic and stuff from her, but I don't know if she has enough to like have this lasting impact on the ball to like, hey, do this bidding for me. Like, whereas Flag, if there's someone that has it, it's either the Crimson King or Flag, in my view. I don't know. And again, trying to get him to call off when we've seen Flag going back to the first book, trying to get Roland off the path of the tower. And if Flag thinks that the quartet like holds enough of Roland's heart, and if them leaving and abandoning him might actually take him off the path, which goes back also to the whole prediction, right? Like when he talks about in book 1, it's like when it talks about the doors, it's like, they hold your heart in your pocket type thing. Like that's one of his like I'm blanking on the word. Fortune telling. Yeah, like fortune telling stuff. It's like, they go with your I'm forgetting the exact terminology, but it's something about along the lines of like that your heart's now held with like what's ahead with these. Right. And it's like, and that's a quartet. So if the quartet then grows, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. And I'm not trying to like excuse Rhea by any means. I just don't know if she rates high enough to have as much ability as I've always given her credit for. Because I've always just read this straight up where it's just like, oh, Rhea's coming through the ball again. But I've never thought about the context of like, the balls are these larger entities that have been around for potentially millennia. Like, is this just 2-bit witch really going to have enough of an impact to like?
Here's the question. Here's the question though. Where does Roland's pathway to the Dark Tower begin?
The ball to begin with, yeah.
Right. So why would the ball contradict itself by projecting Rhea to say cry off? We want you. Never mind. We don't want you to go. It's weeks apart. He sees it at right before Charyu Tree, that he sees the tower and he knows that he has to go. A few weeks later, the ball's telling him to cry off.
Not him, them.
Yeah, but again, you just said that if they cry off, then he'll come off. I think it's a little bit different.
It could be for that, or it could be to weaken him too. Like when you take them away.
That's my thought. Is that I think that my new theory more towards the ending is not that Roland needs to cry off the tower. That's the goal of all the bad guys. Roland not going to the Dark Tower is the goal of all the bad guys out there. Everyone who tells Roland not to go to the tower, to me, seems like a bad guy. Flag says it. Rhea says it. All these other people are like, don't do it, and everything like that. But that's where it's like, he has to. That's his mission, that kind of thing. I think the difference is, does Roland get there without sacrificing anyone? Does Roland get there with the quartet? Because I think that may be the difference, is that he gets there, he kills the Crimson King, and then he turns around and looks at the quartet and says, okay, I'm going inside. And then there's Eddie, Jake, Susanna, Oy, Patrick. All of them are there. All of them are alive. And they go, we're done. Let's go home.
Well, let's go. Crimson King can't go inside.
Let's go.
He's stuck.
Doesn't mean that someone can't come release him, right?
Which
we talked. Flag has this plan that if he gets there with Mordred's foot, he can go into the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
So the Dark Tower is not secure and safe and everything.
No,
like
and that's where we talked about, like, in the past, and this has been a year or so back. But it's like, I think the Crimson King, from his perspective, Flag is then going to go let him out. But it's like, with all the other stuff that we've seen from Flag, is he really actually trying to do that, or is he trying to bring the tower down, or mount it himself?
We know he's doing something else, which is why he wants Mordred's heel.
Yeah,
but he wants the mark of the Crimson King and everything. But but he needs the blood to be able to get in.
But the Crimson King might still perceive the Mordred pursuit to help him, right? Because if you can get up at the tower, find this fucking balcony, and let me back in, like you'd basically release the Crimson King back into the world, and now a mad Crimson King too, which would be insane. But it's like and I'm not trying to argue that Flag's like doing something for his own good to betray the Crimson King. Like, I think he has his own ends.
I mean, it's a proven fact. It's in book 7. It's in the words. He says that he has his own agenda, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why he tries to kill Mordred. That's why he's wearing the thinking cap. Otherwise, why would he have those defenses? If he's going to assist Mordred and he's going to help Mordred, why would he go with the idea of killing him?
And this goes back to another theory I've had, a few years back, is like, is Flag cognizant of the cycle? And like, is it driving him? Is that why he's basically either wants to bring the tower down, kill Roland, or get Roland to cry off? Because it's like, I can't keep fucking doing this. And in that context, having the quartet cry off, does he know that Roland is not going to make it through this journey without the quartet?
I mean, that's obvious. That's an obvious thing, is that if you look at it, several members of the quartet save Roland's life throughout the series.
From here forward, even from here, 5, 6, and 7.
How does Roland defeat the wolves by himself?
Exactly, and that's where I guess, like, from my perspective, and again, like, I'm not saying that my interpretation is the absolute. It's just how I'm interpreting it. It's like, I'm not sure that Now, again, I think that whether it be Flag, the Ball, someone is using Rhea to hurt Roland further. But it's like, I'm not sure if it's her, though, because, again, I don't know if she rates high enough to me. Like, she's just some backwater. Like, if it were like a witch, it was like, right near Gilead, like some high rank, whatever. It's like, but to me, I'm like, she's kind of like a.
I just don't know about that, because the thing is that I don't know if a witch would ever be able to live near Gilead. I don't think the gunslingers would allow it.
Or, yeah, so
that
maybe,
kind of thing.
Maybe like the right hand witch of John Farson, like, which would be Flag. But it's like, but either way, like, a high. I feel like there's like layers to it, right? It's like, what is like Roland gunslinger versus just some random gunslinger that's just out on the road? Like, there's levels to it, and Roland
like the coffin hunters.
Yeah,
they're good. They're not that good.
Yeah,
they're not even Cuthbert level good, or a land level good.
Yeah, they're high ranking harriers.
Yeah,
and that's what they are. But it's like, and that's where it's like, from my perspective, I guess, as I look at the overall picture, like, I don't think Rhea rates that high.
Here's where I'm gonna go, like, against everything, is just, I don't think Stephen King writes a character like Rhea without actually her being powerful. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense.
I mean, she has power within the scope of the story that we just had and stuff.
Right.
But it's like, I don't know.
Occam's razor, simplest thing. It's Rhea because she's getting revenge for her snake. That's why King wrote it. That's why she has power, that she's able to do it and everything like that. I wonder if we're looking a little bit too far into it. Is that why else would Rhea be there? Why wouldn't it just be Flag? Because we just had an encounter with Flag. We just had Flag drop the ball.
Because
there would be the trap, and then it would just be like, see, I fucked you again. And he turns to the New Yorkers and talks to them because that's not the original.
I don't think that is nearly as devastating to Roland's psychology as Rhea. Because again, like bringing in like that element of like such a small thing seemingly is what caused all this. Like that's gonna trip him out emotionally way more than like, because if it's Flag, then it's just like that's just one more tick in the box of like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
I mean, it's the same thing with Rhea. She killed Susan. So, I mean, when you're looking at if Roland has one bullet, Flag and Rhea, I'm pretty sure before this, I'm pretty sure it's Rhea that's getting gunned down.
It's going to be Rhea because he already knows that his guns mean nothing to Flag.
No, I'm talking like here, like he's walking into Gabrielle's room.
Oh, I guess he has an encounter.
Young, but he has the encounter of he's fucking his mom.
No, but he hasn't had the encounter to know his guns are worthless against.
So
Flag,
if you put Roland here with the belt and his mom and everything like that, and there's Rhea and there's Flag, and Roland has one bullet, I'm 99.9% sure he puts that bullet in Rhea's head and then tries something with Flag.
I mean, probably just because it is fresh with everything that's going on.
I love the love of his life, the future mother of his children. That's up there, man. That is a whole nother level of you fucked me over for Roland. You got to realize that killing Susan, there is not a lot that Roland would be like, there's I absolutely hate Flag. He did this to my mother, but if you kill the mother of your children, the man's woman, kind of thing.
Yeah, and Baraki says, I think the Bends of the Rainbow are above the level where Rhea, Flag, Farson, or any of these could have control or use of them or manipulate them. They're used by the level of the Beast or the Crimson King. Yeah, and that's where I'm just like, I think they're and like that's what hit me over the course of like this week or so. Is like it's just a matter of like I don't know if Rhea rates. I'm elevating Flag higher than that level. Like, I think Flag might be able to, because like we've seen Flag be basically a multi-dimensional. We've seen him in multiple stories. Like, I do think there's a level of Flag that he's not just some like even a high level wizard in this world. He is like he's beyond all.
I'm gonna have to push back on Baraki here. I don't think that that's true. If the Manny can manipulate Black 13, which is the worst of them all, and Father Callahan can use Black 13, what's to say that a witch can't use the pink one, or Flag can't? The Manny can do it. Yeah, it takes a bunch of them and everything like that to be able to open the Unfound Door in Wolves of the Collar or Song of Susanna, but they're able to do it. Eddie's able to do it. Like it, I think they're able to be used. Now, to be used to do what the person wants 100% of the time, no. I mean, I think your ring analogy is a good thing, but at the same time, those rings were still servants to their masters. Kind of thing. The One Ring served Sauron, but the reason why it didn't serve everyone else is because that's not its master. I think it's a little bit different with these. These are malevolent. Is that the right word? Like malicious, and they're little tricksters and stuff like that. So they'll fuck with people nonstop, which is why the ball agrees with Rhea most of the time. But even at certain points, Rhea pisses it off. It's an entity. It's its own thing. Yeah. But at the same time, they still are able to be used by people. Why would Black 13 work for the Manny? Well, if it's pure evil, it would never do their bidding, because it would not want Roland, Eddie, Jake, and Father Callahan and Oi to be able to go anywhere, because then Susanna would have Mordred be eaten by him. There's a dead gunslinger. But the Black 13 has to do what it says. I think there's like rules there, kind of thing. So that's where I have a problem with saying like, the Bends are above everyone except for the Crimson King and like the highest levels. It's like, but they're used by fucking commoners.
Yeah, but I think that like you said though, they're their own entities and they have their own like volition and stuff.
That's why that's why it fucks with them when it's okay. Father Callahan and Jake are going to go to Maine, but Roland and Eddie are going to go to New York and save Susanna, and it's like fuck you. Switch.
Here's my caveat though, is like even if like because you're right, because Rhea is nasty, so like she and the ball do align. Like if Rhea has no way Roland speculates that she has friends, but it's like there's no way Rhea has anything to do with that ball being in that room. That's 100% Gabrielle, and that's Flag that took that ball from Steven, got it in that room, and then it's Flag that ended up with it on the outside after Roland passed out. Like, it's Flag that took it, which the evidence is there, like you just said. Occam's razor, Flag has it now. Like, it probably didn't bounce through 20 hands before it got back to Flag.
No.
So if
there's a reason, I think that's the reason Farson fell. Reading between the lines, he had it. He's winning. Flag takes it. He beats Gilead because they were already broken. He got to the point where Gilead's going to fall.
Yeah. I think we're
battle,
there anyway.
Everything that happened in May just delayed it. We talked about that. It delayed it only 18 months or so. Like, that's it. But Gilead still fell. But again, I asked this question a few episodes ago. Where's Farson?
But Farson's Flag.
Where is that?
Yeah, but Farson's Flag, and I think that, like, he's using the whole Farson uprising to, like, his ends, but at a certain point, he doesn't need it anymore.
Yeah,
and
like, so he just lets it.
He just lets it dissolve, and that's why there doesn't become like the democracy or whatever else, right? But here's what I would say: if like the Rhea was able to imprint on the ball or whatever, in my view, she would have no way of seeing or truly being there for that killing of Gabrielle. That would be like a recording type thing. Rhea herself, wherever she's at, would not be able to see, like, project herself through the ball to see that happen. That would have been like she put all of her malice of, like, hatred for Roland because of Irma into that ball, and then it's basically like almost like a recording, or it's just projecting that hatred, and maybe it's doing it almost for Rhea, but I don't know that Rhea would have a way of knowing, because I don't think there's like this long-term or long-distance telepathic connection to Rhea, so I don't think that she's like privy to what happened. Now she runs into Roland, and he may fill her in on that, where in her final moments of her life, she may have like figured out what happened and went, "Oh, good, so I did get some payback." Type. Does that make sense? Like,
I see what you're saying. I disagree with it. I see what you're saying, though, is that it's more of like the ball is just projecting what Roland fears the most, is that it's Rhea that caused this. Maybe that's what it is a little bit.
Like taking his own fear from his head. Like,
the one thing that doesn't add up, though, is that how does Rhea turn to the New Yorkers and say, cry off? She's dead. Roland confirms that. He's like, yeah, I ran into her one more time.
And then smiles.
To me, that's Roland met Rhea one more time and fucking killed her. But so how can she be there? It recorded a message of her and everything like that. That more leans towards what I was saying, is that it's Flag on that part.
But I think it's the ball still, because like it shows as the Wicked Witch of the West, and then only turns into Rhea at a certain point. So it's like, I think truly this is either the ball or Flag that's projected to the New Yorkers. Get off the path, because again, I don't think Rhea has any fucking knowledge or care about any of that anyway. That's beyond. That's outside of her realm of the story. She doesn't care or know about the tower. She just.
In the part that we see, but at this point, we don't know. We don't know everything that the ball showed her. So maybe that's where she realizes how that's why she doesn't come out and curse Roland when he comes to the dooryard. She sends her snake because she's a coward.
Or also, she wouldn't know that like he's killed everyone he's ever been with. Like that would be beyond her knowledge too.
Yeah,
because he's gonna run into her and kill her. It just, again, the ball. There's like a larger sense of either Flag or the ball that goes beyond the scale of what Rhea would know, even in timeline. When it's like there's no one that he's ever loved, been with, that isn't dust in the wind now. Ask him if you could, but they're all gone. So
yeah,
like that's almost like bigger picture. Like we as readers know that. The ball knows that. Flag probably knows that, but Rhea wouldn't have known that. So again, I don't know. It's interesting. And like I said, if Rhea's involved, I would say that it's almost like a one way.
Yeah.
Like she put her hate, because she would have just stewed over Ermont and put that into the ball. So it's like, if the ball then wants to project that and go, hey,
I mean, at the end of the day,
and it is
at the end of the day, we're giving credit to the ball, but at the end of the day, that's still Rhea. If I record a message saying, hey, Tad, and I say the most god-awful thing and it causes you to do something that you will regret, is that me doing it, or is that the recording doing it?
But again, the ball has its own cognizance. It's sentient, I guess. That's the word we.
So if someone records me saying it and then plays it for you, that's on them versus me.
Oh yeah, we see that in movies and stuff all the time, where it's like when someone has like a disastrous recording, like
but it's not the messenger that usually gets the fallback. It's the person who still says it.
Yeah, but again, there's just too much that's beyond Rhea in my mind. So I don't know. I just
I do think that you're not giving Rhea enough credit for how much power she does have. I mean, you have to remember that she did brainwash Susan into cutting her own hair after having sex her first time.
Yeah,
that is not some trivial power. That is not some little like hocus pocus, and
compared
stuff
to the
like
ball, it is though.
Compared to the ball, Flag's the same way.
Now, again,
compared to what the ball can do and everything,
again,
what does Flag do? Parlor tricks?
No, Flag comes back from the dead. He's living on multiple levels of the tower. He resurrects. He brings people back from the dead. He's not just a 2-bit parlor thing like Rhea is. Like,
do we know how old Rhea is because she's been there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years?
Well, no, because there's people in the town that remember her being like in school with them and stuff. Remember, because that threw us both off. She grew up in the town.
Can't imagine her being like just like a
child.
schoolgirl.
It's like the Grinch movie. It's like, wait, what? The Grinch was
a kid
going to school with all these people. And again, so I don't know. I guess to me, it's interesting. It's probably the biggest takeaway from the tail end of the book club for me is like I've always just taken that at complete face value.
That's Rhea.
And it's just like, but
that's the whole reason why I wanted to have this argument after the book.
No, and I totally get it. But it's like until we got there though, then it's suddenly like, wait, there's some shit here that doesn't really like, and again, the ball too, because like I think we both discovered like in a lot of ways that like the ball is Roland on a false quest altogether. Like the ball's the one that started all this. Like, and there's an element of this, like it's easy when you're just breezing through these books, like whether you're reading it or listening to it, and there's just nuances that's easy to just lose. And it's just like as we go through this line by line, which is why we do these book clubs.
Right.
There's certain elements, and it's like, and that just recontextualizes stuff where it's just like. And again, I'm not saying that Rhea is not bad. She certainly has plenty of blame that you could throw on her. I mean, she's a fucking terrible. Character.
I will argue with anyone. Susan being burned at the stake is 100% Rhea. It's 100% Rhea.
Not 100%, 100%. Not 100%, because she's dead. It's like if Cordelia, with their whole devil's agreement and then letting her drink her blood and shit, like, and Rhea like talks to her, like this is going one way. You have to be bought in on that.
Yeah.
And Cordelia's like, yes, that's what needs to happen. Type thing. So it's like it's not 100% because Cordelia is there. She bears some of the responsibility.
But remember when there is the actual chapter of Charyu Tree, Cordelia is in like a trance, and then as soon as Susan dies, she drops dead herself.
But she gives her
consent. Absolutely, absolutely, she gives her consent
and agrees to knowing what the end is. But even at
the end of the day, who's the person who carried it out? Like, who's the person? Like, if you and me make a deal that we're going to rob a bank, but then you go rob the bank and you do all of the work and you shoot all the people and you get away with all the money, what do I get credit for? I don't get charged with all of that. I get charged as an accessory. That's what Cordelia would be.
But I think King...
And I'm not saying that she's not terrible and everything like that, but Susan being burned at the stake is Rhea's fault.
But I think that King wrote that chapter where, like, Rhea is at Cordelia's house the way he did specifically so that Cordelia has blame in it as well.
I'm not saying she's blameless. That's why
I'd say Rhea. It's not 100% Rhea because Cordelia takes some of the.
No. The blame is different than who actually carried out the act. I don't think Cordelia did a damn thing. She's a fucking zombie in the chapter if you read it. Like she's standing there. It's like it's almost like freaking Bill's wife in It. Put her hand up and then have to put it back down. Kind of thing. She agrees to it. It's her own fault for being
and
there.
She wants that. She wants that end
result. She does want it.
So it's like,
going out to the road and capturing Susan,
and she empowers Rhea by giving her
saves Rhea's. She saves Rhea's life. Rhea's gonna die otherwise.
Yeah, she's.
So there's blame to go around with it, but who actually who pulled the trigger kind of thing? It's Rhea.
But I think that's unfair to boil it down to just pulling the trigger though, because there's a lot that's going on beyond, you know what I mean? Like if you're the one that gave Oswald the gun, if you're the CIA asset that gave Oswald,
right?
Well, he wasn't the one that tipped
right.
the shot anyway.
But still, the person who assassinated JFK is still Lee Harvey Oswald. The person who pulls the trigger is still the murderer.
Well, no,
that's what I'm saying.
The guy on the grassy knoll is the guy that pulled the trigger. But yes, like but again though, like I think that King wrote it in the right way to where. So I do think that it still really boils down to the fact, from my perspective, that Rhea's a witch. Cordelia is supposed to be the one person on the planet that actually cares enough for Susan to protect her. So it's like, I think Cordelia is worse. I voted for Rhea back in 2019 for the March Insanity, but it's like I think Cordelia is a worse.
I have actually flipped, and I do believe that Cordelia is worse with everything that we've seen. Because
I know we've lost track of the chat a little bit, but
there's a lot in there. But I think the biggest thing that stood out to me is there was one episode where we were doing the book club, and I think it was you that said it, is that this is the person who's supposed to protect her.
Yeah.
It comes down to that is one of the worst crimes.
The only one.
The worst crimes that I can see.
It's the last living family member, right?
And it's blood. It's not like this is like a stepmom like Cinderella or some shit like that where it's I guess I'll take care of her.
Yeah.
No, that is her fucking niece. That is her brother's daughter. I have nieces. You have a niece.
Yeah.
Like, there is no excuse for the way that Cordelia acts towards Susan.
And not
except for the fact that she is just evil,
and not even just like the mayor setup. Even like,
no,
like just the nasty, like literally, it's like a Fran's mom, which I'm not far off from reading that for my reread.
Oh, in the Stand.
Yeah, it's like there's just an element of Fran's mom that's just a terrible human being.
Yeah,
now, part of it is like her upstanding nature in the town
community,
or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like that isn't just it. There's a maliciousness to her, and even the dad points it out. It's like, we both had a kid. She lost hers.
Yeah.
And like that is like at the root of like whatever. And it's like,
excuse me.
And maybe for Cordelia, it's the fact that she is like the spinstress, right? She never had the lover. She never had the kids. Like, so maybe that like all of like that animosity that she has towards her brother, she's now just pouring on this kid, which again, she's the only one that in the world that truthfully has to like stand up for her.
Absolutely.
So it's like, and so I think Brocky said something earlier on his call on it. Rhea is what she is, totally evil. But for me, there's something more hateful about Cordelia. Yeah, and like that's so.
Rhea went bad a long time ago, and that's that. But when it comes down to it, what you have to look at with Cordelia is simply that she was entrusted with the life of a child and the protection of a child, and she spat in the face of it. She did. Willingly and knowingly spat in the face, and she thinks that, and that's the worst part, is that she's got this delusion in her mind that she's doing the right thing and everything. And Susan says it, the right thing, right by who? You're doing this to better yourself, not me. It's purely selfish.
Yeah,
it's purely everything with the mayor is to up Cordelia's standing in the community.
Don't put me in a spot where I have to defend Cordelia, but I do think there's like the I just blanked on the word. Like being like anti-woman, like that. There's a word, and I'm blanking on
misogynist.
Misogyny. The misogyny of this place is they legitimately can't take everything that family has.
Yeah.
Once he's dead, they can take that. They already have taken a bunch of the horses. They can take their land.
They took the jobs. Yeah.
So I'm not trying to like defend Cordelia, but there is an element of like, this isn't our world in the sense of like there's things to protect her. Like she is kind of up a creek without a paddle.
She's not going to be she can't be a single mom and work 2 jobs to provide for Susan and stuff like that. Literally, they could just be like, yeah, we're just going to take all your shit.
Yeah. So I also want to like make sure that we understand the mayor may have even been doing a lot of this to get Susan.
Yeah.
Like there could be a level of manipulation there where it's like he's legitimately taken some of the property, some of the land, some of the whatever, legitimate, because he's like, I want that piece of ass.
Yeah.
Like,
at the end of the day, though, there is ways for Cordelia to
again, I'm not saying this to excuse her. I'm just saying that I do want to make sure that context is in there where it's not that she's just 100% pure evil. There is some element of like the system did put her in a position where to enable her. But again, she has the choice to make then at that point of like, how do you respond to it? So again, I'm not excusing her. I'm just saying like there is a larger part of this world that like, it is ultimately going to be unfair to Cordelia and to Susan. Like
I don't like the idea of saying that she's not 100% pure evil. She is. You abuse a child, you're 100% evil. Like that's what it is to me.
But like the mayor side of things, like it's not just she's doing 100%.
Again, that's taking one little part of it. But that's just taking one part of it and trying to excuse that. And I hate that because on the larger context of it, she physically, emotionally, and psychologically abuses a child that she is put in care of. There's no excuse for that. There's nothing that can be like, yeah, absolutely, she has the right to do this. She should be able to do this. No, there's no excuse. She made that choice. You said it. It's her choice whether or not.
I'm not excusing her. I'm just saying we need to make sure we have full context. That she's not just a cartoon villain that's just absolute
pure evil.
She's there's aspects to everything that happened. Again,
I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, we're not debating whether or not Roland is pure evil or pure good or anything like that. We're talking about a character who is 100% a villain. There's not one scene in this entire book that shows that Cordelia is a good person.
No,
you can't come up with a single scene to show me that she's a good person in any way.
No, but I think that there's like there it's just like, you know, and that's why King writes so well, is because it's like real life. There are wrinkles to this. This isn't just, you know, she decided that, you know, I'm just going to marry this little girl off and get, you know, all this money for myself. Like there's a lot of nuances and a lot of things going on. I do actually think that, because I think I've discovered this more during this book club as well, that I think the mayor has a little bit more, and it might even be beyond him. It might even be all the people that are manipulating him, because we've seen that all the people, the power behind the throne, understood that once they wiggled that, you know, little girl in front of him, he was just a puppet. And it's like, so
I don't think that they had to like wiggle it in front of him. She's there. Pat's part of the court and everything like that. They've seen how he looks at her. And I think that's his doing and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and so I do think there's like, I don't know if I ever would have locked on. I would have just always just had him as just like the complete fucking fool that was just being played along. But it's like, but again, maybe he was, because maybe it was Reimer and some of these others that went, you know what? Let's start chopping away this land to make sure there's like just no way out of this. Like this. And again, they know that her greed is there and stuff too, to where they can play to that. But it's just like there's, and again, this is why I think it's such a good story, because it's not just two-dimensional 1950s movie villain. Like there's a lot going on that, like, whatever. Again, it's not like excusing Cordelia at all. Like she's certainly terrible, because there's the larger aspect of like how she treats Susan beyond the deal. Like the deal is only one aspect of it. Right. But I'm just saying, in the fraction of the part where you're looking at the deal, I do wonder if there was some manipulation to make it as almost as little of a choice as possible, where it's just like, you're gonna be destitute. You're gonna be like packed, like sent on the road, you know. And whether they would actually do that, who knows? Because with her connection to Pat, there's probably enough people in that town that might actually like push against that. Yeah. But doesn't mean they can't lean on her and go, well, this is probably what's gonna happen, man. Like, you're gonna owe all these taxes. You're gonna whatever.
You know,
like,
the thing is that that's what Cordelia says. That's the case, that they could be turned out and stuff like that. I don't think that. I wouldn't put it past her, and this is where I'm going to spin it the other way to show just how truly evil Cordelia is. You're saying that, well, what if they put the pressure on? Because where do we get that from?
The fact that they've already taken, like when Susan throws a fit about the horses they were given back, and it's like given,
it's ours.
But she's like, that was ours to begin with. So it's like it's clear that they basically been taking from them. And now now the gifts, like that's why Susan's so mad.
Here's my pushback on that. What's to say that Cordelia didn't give them to them? What if Cordelia set this all up herself? She doesn't want to raise this kid. What's the best way to get rid of her? How can I get rid of this kid that I don't want? I'm just saying. You're saying the what if.
I don't buy that, because she's so. I mean, she's already at marriage age in this world anyway. She and even like Cordelia has it when we're in her brain a few times, where it's just like a matter of like, it's only a few more months, like, and I'm rid of her, and like, even if it wasn't the mayor, like, you're pretty much to the finish line here. This isn't like she's got a 3-year-old. Right. She's got a kid that she could pretty much marry off.
But we know that Pat's been dead for a few years. This isn't 6 months that Cordelia has to deal with Susan. It's been years that they've lived together.
Yeah, but then I think that falls apart. The fact that she would be manipulating all this stuff, like, no. And I think this gets
wait. Why does it fall apart?
Because then she still has to, like, what is it gaining? She's not like she's marrying this kid.
She's gaining a status in the community.
It's not like she's marrying this kid away at 13 and getting rid of her that much sooner. Like, she still has to deal with this nightmare in her mind.
No. You're missing my whole point here. If Cordelia just has Susan marry someone, Cordelia doesn't get a status in the community. If Susan becomes the mayor's gilly, all of a sudden she has a status in the community again. What if Cordelia sets this whole thing up herself years before it happens? She even is part of Pat's murder cover-up. Part of the murder itself, debatable. The cover-up, 100%. Susan confirms that only one person had access to his ledger, and that's Cordelia. So part of the cover-up, part of the gold is that, well, where am I going to be? It's purely selfish.
Oh, yeah.
So when you look at it from a selfish standpoint, what you're saying is that others influenced the mayor wanting Susan. What if it's Cordelia from the start? What if she's the one that set this up from the start? Because
I don't think she's smart enough for that. I think
why not?
We haven't seen anything from her to show that she has that level of like versus like Reimer that's literally doing this already. Like that high level of manipulation. I think Cordelia is too I don't know, like
you don't think Cordelia isn't smart?
Not like that. That
she picks up on things that other people don't. She's the one that figures out Roland and Susan first before anyone.
But that's not legitimate. She only figured that out because she wanted to think the absolute worst thing. And she was locked onto that. It's like scientific thinking versus non-scientific thinking. Scientific thinking, you have an idea, but you have it open-handed where if the data shows you could just let it go.
Yeah.
She fucking grasped that and went, nope, there is something there. And like, it just so happened that she turned out to be right. But it's like, even if it was completely wrong, she never would have wavered on that belief. Like
that's because she's insane. But.
Yeah, but exactly. That's why I'm just like, so I'm not going to give her. I think that I don't know. I think she's crafty and and self-serving, but not like high level manipulation like that. I think that's beyond her.
I don't think it's that high level.
It is like
what to set up the mayor for going after Susan.
Oh yeah, that's
not that hard to do when you already see that he wants her.
I don't know. Sure,
it's not that hard to convince someone to eat something when they're hungry.
But Cordelia wouldn't know that. She wouldn't have been in the inner court with the like. It would have been Pat. She would have been at home doing her own thing. But Reimer and all those people.
But everyone around town knows it. Everyone knows that he wants her. Well, it's not a secret. It's like yeah, this is obviously what's going to happen. The only reason it doesn't happen is because of Pat. All of a sudden, Pat's out of the way. Cordelia sees her chance and takes her shot. That's not that far-fetched. That's not that far-fetched for her to produce the idea, which is what happens. That's in the text. Cordelia's idea for her to be the mayor's ghillie. The mayor doesn't come to her. Cordelia goes to them and propositions it.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
Susan throws it back at her saying that this was your idea. In one of their arguments.
Well, between the two of them, like in the sense of like, I think she's the one that they approach to then bring it to Susan, and she's the one that's going to lean on her to where it's like, it wasn't Susan's idea of like, hey, I could do this for us. Like, it was
Cordelia's idea.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I think that's the context of like, this is your idea. I don't think it's like the larger sense of her idea. I genuinely think that the people that are trying to get the mayor out of the way, kind of not in the sense I don't think they want him dead.
They want him distracted.
They want him distracted so they can run their own game.
Yeah,
and I think
he's looking over here at the pretty girl, he doesn't see the scheme that's going on with Farson's.
Yeah, because there's a few times we see with him where he's actually got some like he has a brain on him. I mean, for one, you're not going to be able to get that level of power in a small town like small towns are a different beast, man. Like
they are.
Running for like office would be much easier in a bigger environment because you're so far removed from things. But like to actually be like play the machinations and the games of like keeping power in a small town, like that takes some fucking brains. So it's like they know they've got to get him distracted. They've got to they've got to tie him up to something.
At the end of the day, though, here's my thing.
I mean, I know we've really tangented way off, like in a sense of like because in my mind. Just to put my point on it, I do genuinely think I voted for Rhea, but I would vote that Cordelia is a much worse person.
Yeah.
Like, and they're both terrible. Like, they're both they both ended up in the finals. They're both arguably the worst people in this entire series, right?
They're 1A, 1B,
yeah,
right?
1 and 2, right? But it's like, I do think Cordelia is worse because if nothing else, she's not a witch. She's got blood relations. This is your responsibility. You're literally the last person on the fucking planet that would have any say over this child. And she is what she is, and it's like it's like the scorpion thing, which everyone always makes fun of because it gets so overused in literature and movies. But it's like, I'm a scorpion. What do you expect?
You knew what I was.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's Rhea. Like Rhea's a witch. What do you expect of a witch? And literally, Rhea's like hatred for Susan was so fucking like small, right? It like Susan like pissed her off, and that was enough to spiral everything for Rhea. Like,
yeah,
and like that's like, but I think that's what's always dangerous about witches in like literature is like they are so vindictive in that sense of like it could be the smallest thing. You don't have to like kill their goat. Like it could be a matter of like you just happen to look at them cross-eyed and now they've got it out for you.
Yeah.
Like that's why witches have been scary all throughout history. Is because like they're not reasonable.
You don't even have to do anything to them.
Because Susan
Hansel and Gretel just wandered into her yard and she's like, tasty.
Yeah, exactly. And Rhea, it's like when you go look at that first section, it's like, I mean, yeah, Susan was kind of like pert and like, you know, whatever. Like she was, I don't know, she had an attitude or whatever, but it's like, is that really enough for...
It's a fucking 16-year-old girl. What 16-year-old girl doesn't have an attitude?
Exactly.
To some extent. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that every 16-year-old girl is like a smartass or anything. I have a 13-year-old kid at home. I know what it's like.
Yeah. And what was it? God, is it? What's his name? I just blanked on it. The American writer that has a bunch of quotes and stuff.
Edgar Allan Poe?
No, like the white mustache.
Hemingway?
Mark Twain. I think Mark Twain. I don't know if this is actually him, but I've always heard it as him, where it's just like, you know, when a kid, you know, when a kid's born, just throw it in a barrel and feed him through the hole. Once they hit 13, plug the hole.
Plug the hole.
And I've heard that because it's like teenagers are insufferable. I was one once. I know.
I was too.
Teenagers are fucking terrible and inherently. So it's like, yeah, exactly. But I think that's like, I don't know. I think it's a good discussion, but I do think that like those are some of my big discoveries during this. Is like the ball has got way more. Because I think I've always just viewed the ball like largely as just an object that didn't really have as much to play in this story. But it's like
it sets Roland on the path.
Yeah.
And then it's there. I honestly I forget that it's there. When Roland kills Gabrielle.
Yeah, no. 100%.
I honestly forget that it's there. I just hear I swore before this
it was just Rhea.
That you just hear Rhea's voice coming from somewhere.
Agreed. That's how I've always remembered. And that's why, like, you know, when you were like, we still have to cover that last thing before we discuss that debate or that, because again, we're not going to relitigate it. The poll is going to poll. That's what it'll be forever. Rhea is the most.
I think it's just revisiting it because we have
in context of.
We have such a deeper understanding of the book now.
100%. And like in that sense, it's like, yeah, I'm with you. I think I would have just said that like Rhea had the disembodied voice that basically told Roland like that's for Ermont. But it's like now having like really dug in and realized like, oh yeah, shit, the ball is right there.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, and then like to tell them like, you know, forsake him. He'll kill you all, you know, which I always think of like Sarah Connor. He'll kill us all. He'll kill us all. But it's like
I think of Pennywise. I'll kill you all.
Yeah. That's where it makes me kind of wonder of like, is this just the ball type thing? Like talking to the Cotet, because again, I think that Rhea, I just don't see how the tower has anything to do with her. But please, King, give us the fucking showdown with Rhea. I need to see it. A smile from Roland's not enough, man. She is literally, if she's not the worst, she's the second worst character in this fucking story. Most hated, not bad. She's a great character. They're both well written.
Yeah.
The worst character, we need to see it, man. A kind of ambiguous smile from Roland that was it Jake? It's like that meant killing. That's not enough. That's not good enough, King. That she did too much. Like there's the characters that earn deaths, and she earned. Us seeing it, and it cannot be a quick bullet to the head.
It can't be off screen in between two movies.
No, no. And even when we see it, it can't just be Roland taking one shot to her head. Like I feel like Roland makes her suffer. What do you think? Like gut shot, let her bleed out type thing?
I think it's depending on the situation, but honestly, I don't know if Roland would have the.
You don't think he's vindictive enough?
I don't know about. I don't think we've ever seen anything from Roland that shows that he would be not capable. I fully think that he's capable. I think he's more disciplined than to torture someone. I think that gunslinger upbringing is just like, no, bam, headshot, you know, kind of thing. I think he's that. There's that level where you look at the wronged party, like you look at the movie Law Abiding Citizen. That guy. Torture. He's going to torture those guys. He's going to do everything he can. But when you get to like almost more noble, I look at someone like maybe like
John Wick doesn't torture.
John Wick doesn't. No, it's just dude. He's a fucking machine kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think
Roland. That's very Roland.
I think Roland fits that more, where he's gonna have a fucking great line for Rhea, and then he's gonna put one right between her fucking eyes as she's on her knees in front of him.
You think maybe not torture, but you think he wounds her first to give her that that
I think that
may
be what it is like she's using like illusions, and then he clips her in the leg, and then she's down and she's like, I killed your bitch and I killed your mother. I made you kill your mother, you dirty whore. All for what you did to my Irma. And he's like, well, now you can see him again. Bam! And that just blows her the fuck away.
Yeah.
That is what I picture, because I think it's that discipline, that gunslinger upbringing.
That's fair. What is there anything else we missed in the chat? I was trying to keep track.
There was a few things there. We absolutely know the flag is aware of the Psycho. Baraki says that. He's with you on that one.
From book one, some of the stuff he said was just like, it's like you wouldn't know that. Like that's
Baraki does push back on what I said. The bends only allow people to think that they are manipulating them, but they do is purely the will of the Crimson King. I still disagree.
But
if it's the will,
it's
the will of the Crimson King, why would the doors open at all and help Roland? They should never do anything to assist the quartet, and they do.
Now here's the other thing, though, and this isn't like shitty, like whatever. This is a story, and that has to be written this way, because in these stories, King is a legitimate character that has thumbed the scale for the quartet multiple times, and later in the story, we're going to basically find out. Yeah, I'm helping you guys out because you guys saved my life type thing. So it's like we could
with Susanna and Dandolo, right?
Yeah, we could. Yeah, exactly. So we could throw that wrinkle in the sense of like maybe King overrode them in the sense of like I'm not trying to get into that. I hate that shit when you're like getting into like in universe like explanations and then someone's just like, well, because the author needed it that way. But it's like, so I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in that sense of like King is a character in this story, not yet, but he will be, and there is an element of like maybe King is manipulating, maybe forcing. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thought. Now, here's the other thing too: is are the balls beholden to the Crimson King even? Because I said that earlier too, but it's like, are they older than him?
I've never really associated the balls with the Crimson King.
I think he'd be big enough to influence them if he needed to.
But where do we ever see the Crimson King with a single one of the balls?
Yeah, we know it's Merlin's grapefruit or like Merlin's rainbow. I'm trying to think of some of the stuff that Steven said.
I'm just asking. I probably missed this. Maybe it's in the comics or something like that because I still haven't read those.
But I think,
in the proper books, the Crimson King isn't introduced until here.
Yeah.
Basically.
This was our first mention in this book, right?
Yeah, and then we find out later that he was in the castle right before Roland gets there. Like, not very long. Maybe a year or so or something like that.
Long enough to go mad.
He destroys his land. He poisons it all. He kills everyone except for
Dandolo.
Is it Dandolo?
Well, I mean, he's kind of outside the range of the
No. The one that's that's there that looks like King.
Oh,
the three of them.
Yeah.
That one. Whatever his name is. That one's still there. He's left alive. And then the King pisses off and goes to the Dark Tower. Gets trapped, goes insane. I honestly think he was insane before that. You don't make people murder themselves unless you're insane. Commit suicide. I mean,
when you're like a satanic spider thing, like it's a little bit different. I think there's a level of insanity to the Crimson King that does come from the fact that he's literally
just wondering
trapped.
Where this association with the Crimson King came from.
I mean, I said it earlier as well, but I think that, like, from my perspective, though, the Crimson King would be one big enough to potentially influence them. But I guess my question is do we have any background enough on them to know, like, do they pre-exist him? Are these like ancient?
I thought the balls were like part of the tower kind of thing.
And I always thought because of Merlin, maybe it goes way back to fucking like King Arthur, and it's literally Merlin.
Isn't there 12 bends of the rainbow? Isn't there 12 beams? Isn't that like the whole thing? It's like it's part of the.
But what's the word symbology? Symbolism, really.
Symbolism.
But
that's a Boondock Saints reference, and I appreciate that, Tad.
I think there's a lot of symbolism, but I don't know if that means they're necessarily exactly tied to the tower.
I've always taken it that way. I just never associated them with the Crimson King because it's not like they do his bidding.
I think because they're so like malicious and evil, I think that maybe I don't know. But again, maybe there's something that I actually wonder if I can pull up the what is it? I always forget which of the two reference books. The Concordance. Go ahead. You can. Is there anything else in the chat you could look at?
There was a question here that Baraki put forward that I do want to ask. Here's a big question: how would you think would things change if Roland were to enter a cycle and keep his memories, being aware of the other cycles or even the previous cycle?
Sorry, one more time.
How big would the story change if Roland was able to remember the previous cycles or even just one?
Oh, he'd kill himself. It would be the end. He would off himself.
You think he just
100%? He at that point, like, because like even just knowing one, you are going. Roland doesn't think around corners, but you don't have to think around corners that much to know that one repeat means that you've probably been doing this a while. That I think that might even cause Roland to put the end to his, like, I don't even care what my duty is at that point. Like, this is something else, and I'm not playing this. I'm not playing the hamster wheel. So let's see. Maryland's rainbow, Ben's the rainbow. There are 13 glass balls in the Wizard's rainbow, one for each of the guardians of the tower itself. In the original version of the Gunslinger, we were told that the final ball, Black 13, corresponded to the beast that guarded the Dark Tower. So yeah, I guess Crimson King then would be.
Okay.
Some of these magic balls look into the future, others look into the past, or others into alternate realities. Now that's a fun thing there. Because they're just going to see other levels of the tower. Still others, chief among them Black 13, can act as doorways into the other worlds. All the balls are alive and hungry. A person begins by using them, but then in the end, he or she begins being sucked dry. The Wizard's rainbow represents corruption of the pure energy of the white. If the white represents the wholesomeness and the best human beings can strive for, then the debased colors of the rainbow represent the baser emotions. Or the fallen or the fallen drives the fallen world. For example, the pink one resonates with sexual energy, but it is desire, possessiveness, and cruelty without higher emotion that true love can instill in us. Not surprisingly, the gates of the sinister green palace are made of resembling Maryland's rainbow. The gates' 2 wings consist of 6 colored bars each, and the center bar is dead black.
So they are associated with the Dark Tower there in the beams. That's what I thought. And I just missed the part where the Black 13 is supposed to be associated with the Crimson King. Okay.
Well, as long as we assume the Crimson King is the beast that guards the tower. Because since
there's not really like a beast, so I guess it would be him?
Unless he destroyed whatever beast. Because I think the Crimson King's an outside element to the tower, which is why by the time he gets in and then he gets, basically the tower has the self-preservation to cast him out and lock him on this balcony where he's now kind of moot.
Trapped,
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I guess we all took pieces of that, so yeah, there's ties to the Crimson King to an extent, ties to the fact that there's like one corresponding to each of the guardians. Yeah, but it doesn't really say like what their origin is though. So like, I guess that's my thing is because again, maybe I'm like putting too much into it. Cause like,
well, if they're with the tower, if they were associated with the beams and stuff like that, they would be at the creation of the Dark Tower. So they're more ancient.
It talks about corresponding. I don't know if that necessarily means they're like created. I don't know.
I just can't see someone creating them. Then the tower's created millennia ago.
And the fact that
that's Peter's word for more than a millennia.
And I think the fact that it's Merlin's rainbow makes me kind of wonder: does it go back to literally King Arthur and Merlin in this story? Is Arthur Eld exactly? Is Merlin a malicious force for Arthur Eld versus normal King Arthur? Because Merlin's never really portrayed as bad, right? In most King Arthur stuff, he's like
there's a few times where they've turned it on its head. Yeah,
he's got some hijinks,
mischief.
Yeah, he's got some mischief here and there.
He gets up to some shenanigans and tomfoolery.
Yeah, but I don't think that in my mind, I'm not the biggest King Arthur fan, but I've never perceived him as evil. No. But I do think in this story, if Merlin is tied to him, unless he's just one that found them.
Or what if he created them and they were meant to be good, but they turned out evil because they were corrupted?
Yeah.
Something good in the wrong hands could be very bad. We know this. So,
now
for example, you with lots of money would be very bad, but it's very good in my hands.
Here's a question when it comes to with them corresponding to each of the guardians.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a point in time where one of them is at each of the gates at the end of the beam? Where we saw rolling to them originally when they were if they were
the balls.
Yeah,
no, because there's not 12. There's 1 per beam. There's only 6 bends of the rainbow.
No, there's 13 total.
Right, but read the part about the bars again.
Well, it's talking about there's 6 bars on each gate, 1 for each of the colors of the rainbow,
okay.
And then the bar in the middle is black. So no, all I'm saying is like the gates. I'm talking like where we met Shardik.
Yeah,
like originally before people, if they were like from the foundations of everything with the Dark Tower, and each of them correspond to it. When the people that actually gathered them, would they have had to go to the ends of the fucking world and grab each of them for each of the gates? I guess what I'm saying is like, along with Shardik and like each of the guardians is a ball, like another part of that, where it's like you have a guardian and a ball at each of the gates, and then the black one's at the tower.
And
And then over the course,
I don't know about being with the Guardian. I think the Guardian is there to guard the end of the beam.
But maybe it's guarding the ball too.
Maybe they're guarding the ball, and that's why why Shardy goes crazy is because he lost his ball.
Yeah, and they all would have, right? Yeah. Because like at a certain point, humans over the bajillions of years would have at times harvested those.
No, I don't think I'm not blaming humankind. I think it was Flag. Flag did that evil.
Well, he's human.
No, he's not.
He's a good man, that Flag.
No, he's not.
And that is from the I'm sorry,
Dark Tower Wiki.
The Complete Concordance.
Oh, okay.
Which is Robin Firth. I always mix up the two reference books. So that's what that came from, because that's sometimes the best place that gathered all the information, that kind of stuff. So, well, that went a lot longer than I expected, but it's a good conversation.
There's a lot there,
but I think honestly from like halfway through this book, we kind of knew that we wanted to have a big conversation.
There was a couple. I'll give a little behind the scenes. There was a couple times that we finished recording a book club. And as we're finishing up and stuff like that, we're talking and we're just like, God damn, fucking Cordelia, man.
Yeah,
like, dude, she is just the worst.
Oh, she's like I said, Rhea won, but I have to wonder if it was a different bend of the rate or a different level of the tower, and we had not done the most hated as our first poll, and we did it like next year.
Yeah,
after I wonder if it's different.
Oof.
Because, like, again, knee-jerk reaction, you just think of Rhea, and it's just like Rhea's Rhea. But it's like when you're actually in the middle of the book, I think that's because I think I've been that way every time I've read it too. While I'm reading, I'm just like, Cordelia is the fucking worst. Like she's worse than Rhea. But then as time goes, it's like childbirth. A woman would never have a baby if she remembered the pain of childbirth that first time. But no, it's like biologically built into women. They forget it over time. Yeah. And I think it's the same. We forget Cordelia over time. Rhea sticks with us. And like,
I think it's because Cordelia's crimes are heinous, but they're not murder.
God, they're so much worse though. Because again, it's the one person you should be able to count. Like the only thing would be worse. The
thing is that without Rhea,
the only thing
if you remove Rhea from the story, Susan survives. She leaves. She goes with Roland. She's off.
Well,
Cordelia doesn't kill her
unless the ball has its way. Because I don't know. The ball.
I'm just saying. That's. I think that because the devil's advocate here. I still agree with you that I think Cordelia's worse in my mind. That
we also forgot
the years of abuse that Susan had to endure is terrible.
We forgot to mention
at the end of the day, Susan's dead because of Rhea.
We forgot to mention the ball though, because the ball has a lot more responsibility on Susan's death than almost anything. Because like it legitimately lied to Roland, and it deceived him. Not lied, because I think King did say it can't lie, but it deceived him in a sense of
it absolutely
it showed him
neglected to show him what was happening with Susan.
It's very lawyerly. In that sense, which I
didn't lie. I just didn't tell you.
I just didn't tell you the full truth.
You just never asked.
Yeah, 100%. So now that was part of this conversation, but that was, as we've talked about the higher nature of the ball that we've discovered during this, that was the other thing we really landed on, is the fact that the ball, it bamboozled Roland a little bit on that.
100%.
So, yeah. All right. So let's so that's my capper on it, as I do think if I were revoting, I would vote for Cordelia now. We're not doing that. The polls are the polls, and they'll last forever. Now, that isn't to say we can't revisit them. That's a thought process. Do we ever just go back and go part 2 and just see? Because I don't know. Because even like, I guess the King one's fairly recent, but like Patrick Hockstetter. But it's like, maybe we read new books and there's ones we haven't read yet, or read new books that haven't even come out yet.
Yeah.
And maybe we find someone worse than Patrick Hockstetter. That's a thought.
That's going to be hard.
That's
going to be hard.
Can you imagine someone worse than good old Patrick?
I mean, Mrs. Carmody.
And that's what I was about to say. I would say that Cordelia is not the most evil, because I think the most evil would be a parent. So like Carrie's mom. Abusive when you're the actual fucking parent. Like an aunt, there's like a one level removed that's like, I'm not saying it's excused, I'm just saying that like there's one level worse than like an abusive
she is the parent. That's at the end of the day, she is.
But true blood parent, like a mom or a dad, Bev's dad or Carrie's mom are worse than Cordelia, in the sense of that is literally your fucking child. Like that, there's a different level to that, because all throughout history and even literature, there are elements of like whether it's a step parent or an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent that is not particularly as connected, because that's it's kind of my problem, but it's not my problem in the same sense. Whereas like, again, Bev's dad or Carrie's mom, like that is like some of the worst vile pieces of shits, because it's like they abuse their fucking child. That's your flesh and blood that you are harming.
Yeah, you were mentioning this yesterday on the hangout with men cheating on their wives in King's books. You're like, does Tabitha need to be worried? I mean, should Tabitha be worried
all the time.
Should Tabitha be worried about the amount of child abuse that goes on in King's books and stuff? No, he raised his kids right.
No, and I don't believe that, because I've even like defended King over the years when it comes to like, you know, child abuse and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm like, tell me if there's anything more scary than that. In a lot of ways, it's the same reason that in a lot of like horror movies and stuff, I'm always rooting for animals and children to be hurt and killed. Because it's like, it's the thing that still affects people.
Yeah.
We have gotten to the point where people are no longer affected by a teenager or an adult being killed by the killer.
People cheer when certain characters
100%.
die.
And that's where I just like, so every time people get all upset and shit about like, oh my God, I can't believe this movie killed the dog. I'm like, I'm glad it did. Because that affected you. That is what these movies are supposed to do. That's the fucking purpose of a horror movie, is to affect someone. And so King in the same way, I think and I think the King's done a great job of not pulling that punch, but he doesn't overplay it.
Yeah.
We don't see children being abused or sexually abused. We see it on occasion, but we don't see it all the fucking time.
Yeah,
then it would wear out.
The number of times that you see it in a King story is probably,
I guess, under 10 over the course of 70-something books. And I haven't read them all, but even I know by reputation some other ones that I haven't read yet that that they exist. But it's like, I think
but you can't count Pet Sematary. That's not abuse. That's just that's a horrible accident and stuff like that. So unless you count the fact that he resurrected his son,
that's a different.
That's a topic for a conversation.
Yeah,
is that child abuse?
Is that abuse when it's like, even though it might be like, I don't know. That's an interesting.
That's a moral conundrum.
Yeah,
is that considered child abuse to bring Gage back from the dead?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's too deep for my simple brain. I'm just like, Gage bad. No.
Yeah.
He cuts Achilles tendons. I have to consider him bad.
Oh, that's such a beautiful shot, too. Such a beautiful shot. Same reason, the same thing there. I always cheer for that kind of stuff, too. Is like, I want to see eye trauma, Achilles tendon trauma, that kind of stuff. Because it's, again, it gets everyone every time. Also, I saw Alan said, I'm with Peter. Cordelia is a sycophant. So...
It came in when we were talking about did Cordelia instigate the whole Susan B. and the Jilly.
Yeah, it's definitely a good conversation. I'm glad to just put a bow on it now that we're like fresh out of the book. Because again, even like a year from now, I don't know if we still have the same. I mean, we'll remember. I think after the book clubs, we're pretty good about remembering. But it's like, I'm sure we'll still lose some of it. Some of that Pennywise magical hit us to where
I doubt that I will ever think Rhea is worse than Cordelia again. Did
you vote Rhea as well? For March and
Sanity? When I voted,
do you remember?
I think I did.
I did too. I remember, because I'm just like,
fuck her.
Yeah, fuck Rhea. So.
She killed Susan. She killed Gabrielle,
and she didn't protect Ermont.
You didn't give a shit about Ermont back there. Shut the fuck up.
That's
you
true.
only care about Ermont because of how much of a rise he got out of me this time when we were going through the book.
No,
clubs.
It's only because I discovered how much of a prince he was during this book club. So, all right. So let's jump on over to the news. Now, unless you have any other things to throw on, Capper on that.
Rocky, get out of here with that snake.
Oh, I love it. And I love because like the fact that it's a snake too, because there is an emoji for it, right? There's some things in King you wouldn't be able to have an emoji for, but like a snake, there's emojis for that.
It's not a two-headed snake.
We've done that before, or we did an article on that too, didn't we? At one point where people did like the emojis to like, can you guess what King story it is based on the emojis? That was fun because I think we did it even ourselves a little bit to an extent, and it's like it gets tough because every once in a while you're like, well, how the fuck am I going to portray fill in the blank, right? Whatever it might be. So
the outsider. How do you do that?
Yeah,
bunch of worms.
Yeah,
a gun.
So are you saying that the outsider's Oogie Boogie?
Basically, isn't he?
That other level of the tower, he's Oogie Boogie. Did the outsider ever play with dice?
11.
All right, so this is a fun one. Read like Wemby. What Victor Wembanyama reads.
Wembanyama.
I think I got it close.
Yeah, you were close, but yeah.
From reading sci-fi to dark fantasy. This is by Chonks Tabia from Tatler Asia on June 1st, 2026. Now I got to point out here, it's not spelled right, but Tatler. Red Dragon. Mm-hmm. Now, my question, I need to go through and reread those at some point soon.
Yeah.
Do we ever get the Tattler in like Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal? Do we get the sense that it goes on existing, or is it pretty much just that one story?
I think it's just that one because it's a local kind of thing. It's like Chicago.
Was it? I thought it was national.
I never took it that it was because he doesn't go places. He's only there. So
yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting if, like, somewhere in Silence of the Lambs, there's just a mention of the Tattler somewhere. It doesn't have to be like a big part of the story. It's just a matter of like it's that universe building stuff,
it's
right?
The Chilton, throws his copy of the Tattler down when Starling walks in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Victor, you just said it. I don't know.
Wembanyama.
I guess Wemby is what everyone's calling him. So
yeah, it's Wemby.
He's a 7'4" NBA player for the San Antonio Spurs.
Dude is fucking freak of nature.
Getting a lot of attention because of his size, his defense, and his stats, but also apparently has a reputation for reading. In social media posts and interviews, he's discussed a lot of, he mentioned things that are very sci-fi, fantasy, dystopian, and psychologically dense stories. His reading habits are a bit different than a lot of basketball players, which tend toward things like business memoirs and motivational things. So a lot of, not even just basketball, athletes in general. I feel like you always kind of see the same reading from athletes. I don't know. It's always the same. But the article dives into some stuff that's on his bookshelf, and one of them, The Gunslinger. By Stephen King. So, and then this is how this article covers it. Stephen King is a gunslinger, which Wemby has reportedly been reading in English for his language practice. Opens a sprawling Dark Tower series with the story of Roland Deschain, the last gunslinger, as he crosses the desert and abandoned settlements in pursuit of the mysterious man in black. Blending fantasy, horror, and Western fiction and post-apocalyptic imagery, the novel follows Roland through the fragments of landscapes tied to the Dark Tower, a near mythic structure believed to hold the reality together, which we don't really get that much of the Dark Tower explanation in the first book. So they're jumping ahead of a bit. But either way, unlike more densely populated fantasy epics, Gunslinger is sparse and atmospheric, relying heavily on isolation, memory, and obsession, while gradually revealing the emotional cost of Roland's endless pursuit. So it's kind of cool. I think over the years we've kind of tracked all the different celebrities we found that read the Dark Tower. There's a lot of musicians, a lot of filmmakers and stuff that we've seen over the years. God, was it Taylor Swift that was on that Stephen Colbert thing?
She's a Stephen King fan.
Yeah, Stephen King fan. I want to say she mentioned the Dark Tower in that.
Did she?
There were some questions as to whether that was like a skit written by Colbert and whether any of that was actually real. But I want to say that she said the Dark Tower as part of that whole like thing when because he's like grilling her on his. Apparently, she has a song titled Stephen something.
Yeah,
and she's like, no, it's Stephen King, and I want to say Dark Tower has mentioned that. So we've tracked it over the years. I guess she's a musician. I guess I said musician, so I guess counting her outside of that's nonsense.
While joking about the inspiration behind her song, "Hey, Stephen Swift declared the Dark Tower series changed my life,"
which it has a tendency of doing that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, indeed. So let's jump on to the next one, which is an interesting one, and this actually feels like a little bit of maybe a sales pitch for that new book on like the writing process of Stephen King.
Okay.
But it's Shakespeare and Stephen King have a lot in common.
Okay.
So this is by Olivia Farrer from Harvard Magazine on June 5th, 2026. So this is an interview with Carolina Bix, Shakespearean scholar and Stephen E. King Chain of Literature at the Chair of I think I mistyped that. Chair of Stephen E. King Chair in Literature, which I think that's the whole title of her position at the University of Maine. They call it the Stephen E. King Chair in Literature. Like it's like that's, but I'm assuming an E. King is weird because I don't think I've ever even. I think I had to look it up. I'm like, does he have a middle name?
Does he?
It is. It's like Edward or Edward or yeah. Let's see, Stephen King middle name. It is Edwin.
Stephen Edwin King.
Yeah, but I'm assuming that that's named not necessarily just because it's Maine. I'm assuming there's probably a healthy check at some point that King has cut to the literature department of the University of Maine.
I mean, he's an alumni there, right?
Actually, I don't remember. Because he went to college a few different places, didn't he? Because didn't he? Well, yeah, no, he moved to Maine early in his life. So yeah, maybe that's spouse, children.
University of Maine at Ordo.
Okay.
Graduated.
yeah, there. So yeah, you're right. So yeah, she is being interviewed. So Carolina, the reason I mentioned this might be somewhat of a sales pitch. She's the author of the new book Monsters in the Archives: My Year of Fear with Stephen King. She's the one that kind of dove really deep into. I don't remember when that book's actually supposed to be coming out, or it might be out now. Let me look it up real quick. If nothing else, it certainly feels like it's on the horizon very soon. My Year with Fear, Monsters in the Archive. It is available right now. So she wrote this book, and it's and yeah. So I think that's why. But either way, they interview her. So she's not only a Shakespearean like
guru,
yeah, like scholar, that's the word they used, but she's also sits on the Stephen E. King chair of literature at the University of Maine. So how did your work on William Shakespeare lead you to Stephen King and the study of horror? This is literally just an interview and it's condensed, so it's whatever. She says, I was preparing for my job I was preparing my job talk for Stephen E. King chair position. The English department was looking for an early modernist, and I was deep in my project Cognition and Girlhood in Shakespeare. Or in Shakespeare's world. On a whim, I took my 40-year-old copy of Carrie off the shelf to see if I might find some connection between King's teenage girl character and some of Shakespeare's. It fell open to the page where King describes the awakening of Carrie's telekinetic powers as mental puberty, a phrase that perfectly captures the essence of what I was arguing about adolescent girls' brain work. Both authors' writings tap into the embodiment human response to horror at the core at the core of fears that animate it, losing the people and beliefs that and the belief that we love and the people we believe we love and rely on. Once I got into King's archives, I started to research his this book. I discovered that he, like Shakespeare, also intentionally mobilized the power of words, sounds, using them and as he told me, to clang in the reader's ear and produce endearing effects. So, which I mean makes sense, right? I feel like an author of King's style, like level, like of like success, like he doesn't just throw words out there.
No,
you know that like there's some of these words, and I think she mentions it maybe later in this where she's just like, there's I read some of his stuff decades ago, and I know there's just certain phrases that still clang in my brain. And like, can we not all relate to that?
Yeah.
Is there not specific like phrases that, even if it's not a book you read all the time, that you'll never fucking forget?
Yeah.
And it's like, that King didn't just throw that out on the first thing. Like, that he probably sat there and thought, like, what's the best way to word this to like.
Or it just comes naturally to him where it comes out and he goes, oh, that's good.
Maybe.
I wouldn't put it past him that some of them are definitely that way, but I could definitely see you also in like second drafts where he's going over it and stuff like that and being like, well, what if I worded this way instead? What if instead of, the gunslinger chased the man in black across the desert, I did the man in black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed? Oh, hey, that's actually better. I like that. Like I could see changes like that coming in the second draft and stuff like that.
Yeah. And maybe something as iconic as that might, whatever. But I just think there's just might be times that it might not even be the most iconic lines where he's just sitting there and he's thinking about it. Maybe he's even pulling a thesaurus out thinking like, what is the best, almost like a musician, right? What's the best lyric to actually go in this song type thing? And I feel like King might be the same way. I don't know. But then the next question is, Stephen King challenged the divide between literary and popular fiction? She says, yes, just like Shakespeare, Dickens, Shirley Jackson, and countless other popular authors did before him, although most weren't recognized as literary by the elitists, and then she says in parentheses, usually jealous, gatekeepers of their time. In 1592, the Cambridge-educated Robert Greene called Shakespeare an upstart crow. So that's wild to think about in retrospect.
Who called Shakespeare that? Who?
Robert Greene in 1592.
Funny, so, I've never heard of him, but I've heard of William Shakespeare. So
yeah,
suck it.
Crow. Yeah. In 2003, King was honored by the National Book Foundation. Yale literary critic Harold Bloom called him an immensely inadequate writer with no sign of inventive human intelligence. So, yeah. Which I know that over the years King's been asked about as critics. Like, I've outlived most of them anyway, so I wonder if old Harold Bloom is still alive or not. But King is extraordinarily well-read and literary-minded. I found him citing Emerson in a response to copy editor and Macbeth in an early draft of The Shining. And I think that's a cool thing about why maybe her book might be really cool to read, because apparently she was actually let into the actual like archive, and she was actually able to look at early drafts of a lot of his
really?
stuff. So apparently this might be kind of a gold mine for some of us really big King fans. So in his novel, The Long Walk, which he wrote when he was 17, he quoted Andrew Marvell. You can see and hear how his engagement with these literary texts affects his crafting of his prose. He told me that when he wrote Salem's Lot, he was immersed in James Dickey's poetry. Quote, sometimes as a writer, another writer will just show you the way in. And so she's just kind of giving him a lot of credit that, like, yeah, he's not just like, because everyone always says, like, he's like the McDonald's of literature, right? He's just, it's nothing great about it, whatever. But it's like, and like, we've seen that over the years, right? When we've like seen interviews of the King and stuff, like, he references stuff where it's like, or even some of his characters are written in the sense of like, Stu, that's never read a book in his life, reads Watership Down, like,
in a night.
Yeah, it's like, sometimes I've even been critical of that, where it's like, I get it, King, you're a literary guy, but maybe you need to write some blue collar people as like full on blue collar that have never read a fucking, you know, beyond a sixth grade level, like, but he just doesn't, which I don't fault him, right? Like, same way I'm sure a lot of, like, you know, Paul McCartney's stuff are musically inclined, you know, people or whatever. But how do you think technology is changing our relationship to writing and creativity? And this is just kind of interesting as like a modern thing. I suspect that those of us who grew up with legal pads and typewriters still have a pretty good sense of our ability to think for ourselves. And obviously there's plenty of talented young writers out there who have figured out how to put technology to good use. Like most educators, though, I've noticed a marked decline in my students' attention spans and confidence when it comes to creating their own ideas and writing them down. The embrace of AI and the glorification of efficiency by universities and American culture more broadly are exacerbating the problem, of course. Why shouldn't a student game the system and the teacher as well by submitting AI-generated writing if everyone else is doing it? That said, I haven't given up hope. My classes are device-free unless a student needs accommodations. We read hard copies of the book together. We make tremendous efforts in how students are engaging with the text. They also like writing in class because there's fewer distractions and temptations. So I've shifted more to that model, not as a way to police, but more in a way of supporting creativity.
Good.
Kind of an interesting.
Good.
Yeah, 100%.
Actually, it goes along the lines of a study that my wife brought to my attention is that
kids are getting stupider.
Kids are getting stupider because it's the technology.
Yeah, I saw a thing that millennials are the last... every generation's gotten smarter, and millennials, it stopped. Like, the next generation after millennials are actually, the intelligence level has dropped. It's like, that's weird.
The reason that they're explaining it, how they're, the study that I read said that when you make it easier on them, there's less critical thinking. And it even went one step further in even pointing out that entertainment as well. And I think I even sent some of this to you.
Like the games.
The video games stopped.
They're too easy now.
They're holding your hand.
Yeah.
Someone posted a video,
which as a 40-year-old, I'm actually glad for that sometimes.
Yeah, it's really nice when you're 40 years old and you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? But when you're 10, no, let them figure it out. There needs to be an element of. That's one of the great things that's one of the reasons why Minecraft is so popular. I feel, especially with millennials, is because it doesn't teach you anything. Like, you have to remember, like, the recipes. Like, if you want to make an axe to cut down a tree, you have to remember where to put the wood and stuff like that, unless you play with mods and everything. But the study was just saying, like, in other countries, like in Europe, they're starting to revert back to this style of teaching where it's less technology, more hands-on, more writing instead of typing and everything like that. I asked my daughter...
It triggers a different part of the brain.
It does.
I know that.
I asked my daughter the other day what...
Writing versus typing is what I mean. Is like, that actually jogs a different part of the brain. Because there's times if I need better notes on something, I will do it by hand.
You remember it better if you write
something about it, yeah. And there's been times I've literally...
They've proven it.
There's
science that
there's times I've actually written notes, taken a picture of it, and then like got it to translate it into the computer. So I still have it digitally, but it's like I originally wrote it by hand. I feel like it does something different for the brain. But yeah, you were saying...
but like there's countries now that are starting to revert back, and everything, and taking it back a step. I asked my daughter something the other day, what something meant, and I don't remember what it was, but it was something like, "Hey, what does this mean?" And she goes, "I don't know." And then I also saw a video of them writing. It was a check, and it was like, "How much is this for?" And it had the numbers X'd out.
Yeah,
it's just the writing part in cursive, and they're like, "Oh, it's $400,000." It was $400.50.
Yeah,
they couldn't figure that out. They couldn't figure out. No, it was $400 even, $476.00, and they couldn't figure out what the 0 over the 100 meant.
Yeah,
like people couldn't figure that out because they don't know cursive. They've never had to do this and stuff like that. So it's just like AI is fantastic for what it is, but at the end of the day, I understand where teachers are coming from. Like, hey, you still need to write this because I need you to tell me what you know. I don't need you to go to AI and say, hey, write this for me, and then have AI tell me what it knows about it. I need you to do that.
There's also been studies already, it's early phases, that like show that it's actually damaging to the brain, like AI, like using AI like for like 3 hours total, like ever, like can actually damage the way your brain works, essentially.
Really?
So yeah, early stage studies, but yeah, it's just.
But yeah, video games was the other part of it. I guess I kind of got sidetracked with that. But yeah, you go back to early video games and stuff like Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Or like another one that someone mentioned was Metal Gear Solid.
Oh yeah.
And then you look at some of those early Disney games. There's parents out there who challenge their kids, hey, beat the 3rd level of Lion King: The Stampede, and I'll give you $50. And the kids always give up. I don't think I've ever seen a kid succeed.
That's almost not beatable. Like that was actually designed purposely to like help Blockbuster, to where people couldn't beat it the first time renting it or whatever.
Right.
So it's like, so that might be cheating. But either way,
a little bit.
I think I've seen ones where they told the kids if they could beat the entire game, like they'd take them to Disneyland.
Yeah.
So, did studying King's revisions change how you think about his writing, or about the writing process? When I started my archival work, I didn't know what my process would be for this book, or even if I would even write one. I just wanted to explore how King had created some of the scariest moments from the books I had read when I was a teenager. Here's where she says it. Words and phrases were still sticking in my head after 40 years later. And as a literary scholar, I wanted to understand why. As I got deeper into his manuscripts and experienced all the sickening, heart-thumping fears I had originally felt, I realized that this was going to be a story about how well-crafted language makes us feel something, whether that's fear or joy or anger. I became more attuned to these connections as I studied his revisions, and I talked to him about his choices. When I sat down to write my book, I made a conscious decision to bring my personal story into it. As a scholar, we're taught to perform an emotional disengagement with our subjects, but as I learned from King, the most effective writing, whether it's academic or fictional, connects readers to the humanity of the storyteller. So that's definitely true. And then the last one, why is fear such a powerful tool for literature? What keeps readers coming back to stories that scare them? King's literature has affected millions of people across cultures and generations, with large parts of that stemming from his ability to write stories that meet us where we are as we age and as our fears morph. As an anxious 12-year-old, I was terrified of his story, The Boogeyman, which is about a monster killing children in their bedroom. When I asked him what inspired him to write it, he told me that at the time he was the father of 2 small children and was very worried about crib death. So that's kind of an interesting inspiration.
He puts his fears into his books.
Yeah.
I mean, we know this because crib death, that's
Pet Cemetery was Owen, right? Running towards the street that sparked
but Patrick Hockstetter killing his little brother, King mentions that it was put down as crib death.
Yeah. That story endures because King was able to capture the vulnerability and fear of 2 different stages of life as he crafted it. King described a good horror story as a form of therapy, a filter that allows us to metabolize our traumas, real and imagined, without forcing us to look directly at them. So exposure therapy, essentially. So that's not a bad thought process on it there. All right. So next up, we actually have a new King movie on the horizon. So Hounds of Love Helmer Ben Young to direct an adaptation of Stephen King's short story Mr. Yummy. So this is from Matt Grober from Deadline.
Heard of that one.
Deadline, July 11th, 2026. Australian filmmaker Ben Young, and I'll recap the story here in a second. So,
I was just gonna go look up what collection it's in.
Bizarre Bad Dreams.
I don't remember.
So Australian filmmaker Ben Young, and he did Hounds of Love, is set to direct a feature adaptation of Mr. Yummy, a short story by Stephen King. Mr. Yummy comes from the 2015 collection Bizarre Bad Dreams. Mr. Yummy follows Ollie Franklin, a charismatic resident of an assisted living facility who begins to experience disturbing visions after the death of a fellow resident. As the line between memory, regret, and supernatural begins to blur, Ollie is forced to confront long-buried secrets from his past before time finally catches up with him. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember if I've read Bizarre Bad Dreams. There's some of them I've read and some I haven't. I'm losing track of which ones I haven't
read.
read. Bizarre, I have not.
I think I have.
Yet. You have, yes.
Does not sound familiar.
Troy Abruzzi will join Young in adapting the screenplay. And here's a quote from Young. He says, Stephen King was one of my first authors I ever read religiously. So getting to work on something that came from his imagination is genuinely an honor. Spelled with a U. not on today. I should have changed the spelling on that for 4th of July. There's no U in honor. Young told Deadline, what I love about Mr. Yummy is that the horror is inseparable from the humanity. It's creepy, moving, character driven, and exactly the kind of movie that I'd line up to see. It's also the first feature all direct that I've also written on since Hounds of Love. So helping shape the script into something that Stephen King's into the kind of Stephen King film that I'd want to experience myself has been a real joy. And so Young first garnered international attention with Hounds of Love, a critically acclaimed crime thriller, which premiered at Venice and earned 9 nominations at the AACTA Awards, which is the Australian answer to the Academy Awards, with Emma Booth winning for her performance. He later directed the Netflix sci-fi actioner Extinction, starring Michael Pena and Lizzie Kaplan, which played Annie Wilkes in the Castle Rock, that's the one. And Southern Gothic thriller Devil's Peak with Billy Bob Thornton, Robert Wright, and Jack Earl Haley. So, that's on the horizon. Now, I had 2 other ones. I didn't know how long our palaver would go that I'm going to have to kick for later. But in the future, we're going to have a roundtable where we're going to be talking a lot of gaming. So I've got 2 different articles on gaming King stuff. So not like new King games, because we'd definitely be talking about that, but we're getting close to time, so let's jump over to, let me scroll down here. Actually, I could hit some of these quick ones. There was a few other I'm sorry, let's go to the big board. So Mr. Yummy is added to the old list there.
There it is.
And then let me find the top 10 greatest dark fantasy books of all time by Dawson, let's see, Knife-A-Niger. That's an interesting last name. From Collider on July 13th, 2026. And of course, the reason we're covering it is because number 3 on the top 10 is Drawing of the Three, 1987.
Oh.
So says the Dark Tower, Dawson says the Dark Tower has become a bit of a household name at this point. I disagree on that. I don't know the Dark Tower is quite a household name yet. Maybe soon. But I think it's certainly more popular now than even when we launched this podcast. But I still think we're a long ways from being a household name.
Yes.
So almost as much as the author Stephen King, infamously it received an awful film adaptation of the books, which didn't represent the source material at all. Out of all the Dark Tower books, the second one, The Drawing of the Three, is often considered to be one of the best, if not the absolute best. The story of the Dark Tower is about a world that is splitting apart at the seams, prompting a knight to search out the mythical titular structure, said to be a gateway to the other universes and possibly humanity's last hope. Being a Stephen King book, of course, there's gonna be horror elements, which is why it's dark fantasy. However, its setting is also really unique, as it feels like it's Wild West meets steampunk fantasy and horror. It's a great book series, one of the finest ever conceived, in fact. And they gave the flowers to the second book, which we're here largely because of me experiencing the second book. That's where I got hooked in. So, and then we got another top 10, which is top 10 books of the 2000s. Which I hate that we call it the 2000s, because we're only talking about the one decade, not the entirety of this century.
Yeah.
But like, what else do you call it? The aughts? I think I call it the aughts usually is my thing. Because then because I feel like when you say the 2000s, like to me, 2011 is part of the 2000s. 2026 is part of the 2000s. But they're talking about the aughts here. And this is Jeremy Urquhart from Collider. And there's 2 books from the top 10 that are King for the 2000s.
Okay. 2 books from
I'm not
2000s.
sure if you'll guess it, but go on.
So we're talking 2000 to 2009.
Yeah.
So it can't be 11/22/63.
Correct. Going for the easy one.
I'm sure if I looked at the list, I could pick the 2 of them out, but
nope.
The Dark Tower.
The picture might give that
7.
away.
I'm not looking.
Oh,
actually.
Okay. Well, that is number 7 is the 7th book of the Dark Tower series.
And then the other one is Hearts of Atlantis?
So, concluding the Dark Tower series in relative style, the Dark Tower 7, the Dark Tower is all about a lot of things, owing to the how grand the series has gotten after 6 books. Most of them at decent length, but it's mostly about reaching the titular tower. The Stephen King series, which was published over the span of 20 years, was always about a man named Roland wanting to reach the Dark Tower, and he finally does. That's not a spoiler, but saying what happens upon reaching the tower would be, as would mentioning certain things that happen as the journey toward the tower reaches its final stages. R.I.P. A number of people. Not everyone loves where the series ended up, yet it's hard to not feel some admiration for the ambition of it all, and to feel wowed by the extent the King was willing to go. You do need to read the other 6 books to fully appreciate the 7th one, though it is without a doubt a journey worth taking. A few thousand pages, honestly, pass by rather fast, which I agree.
Yeah.
But then, surprisingly, his number 1 is also a King book.
Wow.
On Writing.
Oh,
in the year 2000. It's easily one of the least scary Stephen King books, but On Writing, a memoir of the craft, is also one of the furthest removed from the genre he's best known for. True to its title, it's a memoir, and it does a lot of showcasing of why writing has always appealed to King, and it covers the earliest stage of his writing career, with quite a bit of time spent on the process of finally getting noticed and subsequently published. Stephen King also discusses the addiction, the 1999 accident that almost took his life, and various pieces of advice he has for people who are aspiring writers, which he might be biased because he's probably a writer, and that's probably why this book is pretty important to him. It's a strong autobiography, a love letter to creativity, and something of a self-help book for people who want to write for a living. It does this while also being incredibly engaging, not to mention strangely entertaining to read. And as odd as it might be, sound, it's probably the best book published post 1990 with Stephen King's name on the cover. And I disagree with that, but past 1990, dude, that's thrown out a lot of fucking books. Now, might mean that it's a really important book to this person, but that is a stout fucking claim, man. So everything from 91 on, that's most of the latter Dark Tower series, 11/22/63. There's a lot of killer books in the
Outsider.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry, man. The Outsider is so fucking good.
Yeah,
it's such a good book.
I do think we can get through odds and ends as with the time we have left here. So we still have some time. So we'll go odds and ends. We have some articles we can come back on, which will be good. So odds and ends, there's some good stuff here. So first off, oops, did I just push the wrong button? Nope, there we go. First off, if you want to go get to the show notes, you can get it. I haven't listened to it, but apparently we have a 9-minute video of King reading an excerpt from Other Worlds Than These. So I have a rule of not reading any anything, but if people want to, I'll have it in the show notes. There's a YouTube video for it. Next up, The Long Walk arrives on HBO Max on Friday.
Nice.
July 10th. So got that. If you have been waiting on that, shame on you. Not really, but you should definitely watch it. It's a fucking killer ass movie.
It's a great movie.
Next up, The Boogeyman is now on Prime Video. That came out in early June, so that's there. Next up, 1408 is the 9th most watched thing on Apple TV. Yay. As of the writing of the article I found, which not that long ago. So that's kind of wild. Like we just watched it. I rewatched it. You watched it for the first time. Apparently Apple has it and people are fucking watching it like crazy. It's top 10, which is insane.
All right.
And then next up we've got Flanagan has wrapped The Exorcist. Allegedly, according to a bunch of trade publication things, like not like Deadline and stuff, but like things that craft people that work in film, they're calling it Exorcist Martyrs. The Exorcist Martyrs.
Okay.
So that might be the title. So he wrapped filming. There's a link on a picture on the screen, and there'll be a link in the show notes to an article on that. Next up, we've got Matthew Lillard is going to San Diego Comic-Con. Some speculation. Is he bringing a Carrie trailer?
That'd be cool.
It's coming up later this year.
Yeah.
San Diego Comic-Con. Like, what else is he working on that he would potentially be revealing stuff for?
Yeah.
So, very titillating, maybe.
Good old Stu.
Yeah. What? Stu?
Isn't he?
Oh, Stu from the Scream.
Yeah.
Stu, I'm reading The Stand right now. So
Stu
you
Redman, yeah.
You can't. Yeah, so the next up is a fun one that I caught literally this morning. Michael Wieland, which did a lot of the animations for a lot of the books for the Dark Tower series, found this on his Blue Sky. It's a fun picture here. It's titled Dark Fortune. 2017. Acrylic 12 inch by 9 inch, and then he says a dark smudge on a palette paper suggests a hooded figure, and then the second part of his thing he says, and it turned into the Man in Black from Stephen King's opus The Dark Tower. So that's fun. That's
that's not the smile of an innocent character.
Oh, it's a beloved character, sir.
Beloved is a strong word.
And then we got Uncle Stevie Recommends. So I got a bunch of them. He hasn't done it for a while, but apparently he has burst on the scene with a bunch here now. First one, he said, I watched old Mickey Rooney flick The Last Mile on Tubi. today. Tubi's an interesting stop, like rummaging in a dead relative's attic. Most of the stuff is trash, but sometimes you find treasures.
Jeez.
So King's beating me because I've never actually signed on a Tubi. So
I haven't either.
I know people have talked about it. But next up, King says The Burrows on Netflix, an absolute delight. Bonus, I believe because it's Netflix, you can watch all episodes. It's actually worth it. Yes, King. You can watch them all on Netflix. Largely Netflix. I love that, he's jumping ahead of me with Tubi, but then he's suddenly not sure if Netflix, you can watch everything all at once. Yes, you can, King. Next up, King, A Violent Masterpiece by Jordan Harper. If you like horror, suspense, mystery, with hanging, with a hanging that parallels the Jeffrey Epstein suicide, and he puts that in quotes. Pick up this barn burner now. The only book that equals it for sheer terror is The Silence of the Lambs.
Ooh.
So that is a stout claim there.
Yeah.
And then also this one makes me happy. King says Spider-Man Noir. Nicolas Cage is excellent, and every black and white shot is pure pulpy perfection.
Nice.
So King's ahead of me on Marvel apparently, because I have still not watched Spider-Man Noir.
I haven't either.
Next up, King says I gave Obsession a B+ in my movie book, but I keep thinking about it. It's a weird mixture of humor and horror, so it's sticking with him. So yeah, that's cool. And then next up, King says Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed on Apple Plus. Some goofy plot holes, but very entertaining. Copy editors are an unused fictional resource. Who's a better detective than a good copy editor? So that one's actually getting a lot of buzz online right now. Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed. And then next one, King says Dr. Death is a riveting podcast. Season 5 is about a neurosurgeon who continues to practice in spite of many malpractice suits. I recommend it because John Henry Schneider is remarkably apt psychological sociopathic profile of Donald Trump. So and apparently this is being adapted. This podcast is being adapted. That ended up getting mentioned as well. And then King, also another one that's really fucking big online right now, and I think we may have mentioned this previously. Widow's Bay is a big one right now, and he says Widow's Bay is good, but Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed, which he just mentioned earlier, is even better. It's like Hitchcock came back to do it one more time, and Tatiana Maslany is so good. The play of emotions on her face is pretty incredible. She goes from comic to terror in an instant. So Widow Bay is one that I have very high on my list. I think King's mentioned it before. It's being called Schitt's Creek meets Stephen King.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and then Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed, and then
mentioned twice.
Yeah, and then King also says about the novel Not a Word by Linwood Barclay. This book is in the can't put it down category. You're gonna love it. So yeah, he retweeted that Barnes Noble had some sort of sale on it or something. So
pre-order sale.
Yeah,
in June. Okay, I see.
Yeah. So yeah,
so that may have been when he tweeted it. Is it?
It might show on there.
Yeah, June 24th is when he tweeted. It's right in the middle of the pre-sale.
Yeah. So yeah, we hadn't. I feel like there was a couple normal episodes that we didn't really have any King recommends, and now suddenly there's just a shitload of them. So yeah,
Brocky says he's so excited to start book 5 next book club.
Yes, that's
same here.
That's what I'll say. We're just we're hitting the outro now, and that is part of it. Is next episode in a fortnight from now, we are jumping into book 6,
book 5
or 5. 6. What the hell?
Don't you skip my favorite book, you son of a bitch.
We just, for no reason at all. It's like, this is an Arc Tower. Let's just jump to book 6.
No.
Book 5. Yeah, so we're really excited for that. It's actually coming a month earlier than we expected. Back when I originally plotted it all out, apparently there was a subchapters here and there that ended up getting to the point where we were able to do what we thought was 2 episodes in one last time. It was a little bit of a longer episode, but we got through it, and so that means that we are starting a month early on Wolves of the Kala. So
my favorite.
Yeah, looking forward to that. So on the outro stuff, though, if you want to subscribe to us, you can do that on any podcasting service of your choice. You can stream us on Spotify, Amazon Music, or Audible. You can join us for the live streams here at youtube.com/DarkTowerPalaver, like everyone that was part of the conversation earlier. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Otherwise, Ermot will not be remembered properly.
Oh, yeah, don't do that then.
Show notes are at darktowerpalaver.com. I'll have links for all the stuff over there. If you want to go through and read some of those top 10 lists, I only grabbed the one or two Stephen King things from. If you're a big fan of like dark fantasy and want to read the rest of that list, check the show notes. I'll have a link for the whole article. And then if you want to support us, you can do that at patreon.com/darktowerpalaver. And if you want to contact us, Peter can let you know the ways to do that.
Best way is through email. It's show@darktowerpalaver.com.
Baraki says it's odd to agree with Peter on something. Book 5. So
I'm right. Just
the worst part is we don't have any flag in book 5.
It's one of the better reasons for that book.
That's why it's a step down.
No.
You need Flag.
No.
Andy the robot, though. Gotta love Andy.
And many other functions.
Many other functions.
Find us on Threads and Instagram as Dark Tower Palaver, all one word, no spaces. Our Blue Sky is at darktowerpalaver.bsky.social. Our Twitter is at darktowerpod. That's at darktowerpod. And then facebook.com/darktowerpalaver is where we are on Facebook. And then get yourself a hashtag Tad is Terrible t-shirt at tpublic.com/users/darktowerpalaver.
Baraki also got that many other functions. Also, I'm going to point out now, it is going to be way more relevant now because like Dr. Doom was a more of an obscure reference even when we read this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big comic fan,
but
it's like...
It's not now.
No,
by the time we get there, by the time we get there, we're not going to get to the wolves part of this until like 2028.
I mean, are we even going to get to the point where we actually get described their look before the movie even comes out? Doomsday is probably...
No, absolutely. We're not going to get to the Kala before that. You got to remember how much is before we actually even get to Collarbridge Sturges.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
There's the whole swamp part with Susanna. There's the meeting the people. There's the Andy the robot when coming to Talford and telling him that the wolves are coming. There's a lot before we even get to town.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't think we're going to get anything about the wolves before that.
Yeah, so it's going to be very, very relevant.
Yes.
And we will have... I mean, we still haven't even seen Dr. Doom in the flesh yet, but we will. So
I mean, we did.
I mean, we need to be seeing it very soon here. If trailer needs to be fucking happening, like, goddamn.
I mean, we
right
did
away.
see Doom. He was in the end of Fantastic Four. He was right there.
Yeah.
Talking to little baby.
Not enough. We need to see the full on mask, the green cloak, everything like that. Because
we had the green cloak. We saw the green cloak.
It wasn't good enough.
It's not enough, damn it.
Not good enough. But yeah, so that's it for this episode. Good stuff. I'm glad we've put a capper on the. I always love. I think we've always had that idea to like sometimes have just like full on larger discussions, like without the inhibitions of. Because even with like the book clubs, we have the spoiler section now, but like.
Sometimes we don't have time.
Usually it's so far to the end that like we're never going to have time to like. We just spent like an hour, damn near an hour, probably over an hour on that conversation. It's like there's no way. Like there's just
no.
Now, if we had actually parsed it out the way I had originally plotted it, we would have only had like a tiny bit to maybe we could have done this whole conversation in the spoiler section of
book club,
this month's book club if we had done it that way. But yeah, so yeah, I always appreciate it, but it hasn't really come up that many times where we actually have had time to dive in and do this. So good stuff. But yeah, we will sign off as we always do by saying long days and pleasant nights.
Long days and pleasant nights, folks.
Boy.
All right, everyone in the chat, thank you all for joining. Thanks for being part of the conversation. Good stuff. Good palaver for sure.
And thanks for Baraki and Alan for agreeing with me.
Also, I got to say, pat on my back for flipping the order here and doing the palaver first. Because if we had
we
would have
been cut short.
It would have been like probably a 10, 15, 20 minute conversation, maybe. Because like the two articles we skipped for the video game stuff, the one of them was sizable. So
it can wait.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. So that's a future teaser though for any gamers out there. There's some gaming stuff on the horizon. All right, see you guys.
Bye, everyone.